And
Plus, you could do it while sat in your house in your pants.
well, the arena champs was sat in my house in my pants. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
just sweating and shitting.
I'm never gonna get over the fact that in the UK they call underwear pants. It's not something I'm ever gonna get used to.
What? Where are you from?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of Battle Chads. I've got myself, Josh, and I'm with my co-host, Luis.
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back.
And we've got a special friend, special royally friend today with us as guest, Will Hall. Will, how you doing?
I'm a little naked right now. I'm missing something sat on my top lip, and it's making me very body conscious right now. But I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm grand. I mean, we were a little bit disappointed to see that. We
I can draw it on. I can get a marker.
We were saying we can't believe that you shaved it off just before Thunder Junction's here. You looked like a cowboy, walking, talking.
I shaved it off just for you, gents. I thought that was the memo. You said clean shaven, Josh.
I did actually, yeah. It's SOPs with the core. You got to keep that clean shaven grid.
Yeah, exactly. I can't have it on the internet too much. It's already having its own reputation. It's probably got its own Twitter at this point.
Where else are you going to store your scran when you're not?
It's really nice not having taking a sip of drink or having some food and not having to wipe your mouth every single bite and drink.
Yeah,
it is quite nice.
I know that pain with this beard right now. A lot of stuff gets stuck in it.
Yeah. Well, I tried to grow a mustache not last November, the November before, and I just can't do it. My son ended up running away from me.
It's all right. You'll hit puberty one day, mate.
One day, hopefully. Okay, Will, why don't you tell us about yourself?
What it says to tell you about myself. I'm a War Marine, just like yourself. 18 years in the game. Almost time to retire, which is scary. I've played Magic the Gathering. The first block I started was as a Saga. Then I stopped, found girls when you were a teenager, and then started again 2014 when I got back from Afghanistan the first time. And yeah, I kind of just kept setting goals, kept smashing them, and now I do commentary for all the big European events, and I managed to work my way up onto the Pro Tour. So people will see me doing casting, some people play against me, some people used to watch my streams, some people still watch my streams even though I'm not on them now. So yeah, streamer, caster, Raw Marine. That's probably the 3 things people know me for.
Yeah, I remember seeing you at the Pro Tour. I was like, as well.
My finest moment. That was obviously the peak, and it was very quick. I went from never casting before to there in 11 months.
Wow.
And I was sat right here, and I think I was playing like Arena or Modo or something like that. And Paul Chio messaged me. And Paul Chio messages you a little bit here and there, you know what I mean? Because he was the head caster at the time, worked for Wizards. And he messaged me going, Will, are you free to talk? And that's never happened. And I was like, oh no, because I was meant to be working on it as a hand holder. I'm the guy that stands over the shoulder with the iPad and marks down the cards. I went, here we go. I'm gonna get sacked for something or whatever. And he goes, okay, so, and I was like, is this good or bad news, Paul? And he went, just wait. I was like, that's not a no. And he goes, okay, Marshall can't make it. And I was like, my eyes just lit up. I was like, keep talking. And he goes, well, Cedric's gonna move into the commentary booth, so we need someone to replace Cedric. I was like, I'm in. He's like, yes. No, I'm in.
Yes,
so,
just yes.
I was like, that's it. Call's over. And I'll literally remember that call and that whole Pro Tour for the rest of my life. If I never do a Pro Tour again, bear in mind that is like my now goal is to get back on the Pro Tour, which is very hard being in England, and there's so many good casters at the minute. But that one Pro Tour, Lord of the Rings Pro Tour, modern in Europe, like. Everything just aligned for that Pro Tour to make it the perfect Pro Tour for me. And I learned so much. I only found out with, I think, 6 days notice that I was doing it. So, it was such a learning curve. I didn't have any time to
me. Yeah, I remember you texting me.
Mate, I was still now, I was get goosebumps and excited thinking of it. Because it was awesome. I've been watching it for years, literally years. I got a small glimpse into it when I was able to work behind the stage with the, in the hand holder thing.
Yeah.
And I always said, look, in 10 years time, I'm going to, I want to be on that stage. In 10 years time, I want to be on that booth, etc., etc. And then 11 months into the game, I got the call up.
Wow.
Which, it's fucking mind blowing. And just being there and the weirdest bit was hair and makeup. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And obviously I knew most of the casters anyway, or I've at least met them before, and they're all really like cool and chill. But then some of them I'm really good friends with, and some of them I just still idolize. Like Cedric is just the goat to me. I grew up in that SCG era of Magic, and I used to just watch it Saturday, Sunday religiously.
Coverage was amazing, wasn't it?
Oh, honestly, it's so good. And I always say, like, that's why if I work on a show, I want to try and repeat that. I'm hopefully one day I'm going to be in charge of a big show, and that will, hopefully I can.
Something about paper Magic coverage as well, which is just so unique. Like the drama that you get in paper. Hits different.
Oh yeah, there's nothing quite like it.
That's on the casters though as well, in my opinion. How well are the casters at telling a story? Right, like they've got to build the hype. They've got to build the suspense. They've got to react to the big draws and think of the outs. They've got to be ready to react to all that, and that's a really hard skill to master.
It's always be like it's identify if they draw this now and then they draw it. You're like, oh my god!
That's some of my favorite moments of casting is when you get the big top deck moments for the win.
Oh my god, it's Lightning Helix!
It's Lightning Helix! I managed to do that once. So my first big job working for Wizards was on Arena Championships. I want to say 2 or 3. I can't remember which one it was. But I was so ill. I literally I was all hyped up for it. I was buzzing. I was like, oh sweet, and because everyone met me in Philadelphia. That kind of runs it, and we're gonna get you on. We're gonna pair you with Corey Wybeister. I was like, what? Okay, cool. I was like, let's go. I can do that. And I was like, obviously practicing the way up to it. It was one of these arena formats that don't make any sense. It wasn't like a standard or something. It was like, well, this is what the card is, but we've just changed it slightly so it does this. And then we've added other cards.
Alchemy.
Alchemy, that's it.
It was something like that. And I was just like, oh, no, I think it was Explorer. maybe it was Alchemy. It was a horrendous format. And I was like, oh, so I've got to learn this. Did loads of work learning it. And then literally 6 hours before we went live, I was just so ill. Just was shitting through the eye of a needle, my fucking dangling, sweating hot and cold. But it was too late to tell them. I didn't want to cancel and be like that guy that got his shot and cancelled. So I fought through it. It was horrendous, probably the worst casting I've ever done in my life. Because no one gave me a heads up on it all, if that makes sense. They just took for granted that I knew what was going to happen. And I've never done a show like that. In all my casting before, it was all I'm almost in charge, if that makes sense. I know how I want to steer the ship. I can do we'll go live, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. This is the runner show. At 12:04, you're going to talk about this card. At 12:06, you'll move on to this card, and and everybody's got their own different thing. And Maria, who, by the way, is a absolute goddess at casting. She is so good. She has 17 Emmys, by the way. People don't know that about her. She has 17
amazing
Emmys. She's so good at it, so good at editing, so good at producing her. She steers ships better than anybody else. Just watching her work, I'm like, anyway, she's steering it. She did an amazing job, but no one ever told me about this runner show. No one gave me a heads up on it. It was just thrown at me, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't understand how it and I just had to learn on the fly. It was really, really bad. Weirdly, they haven't invited me back to do that since, but that's not the one on my radar. I want to do the mocks. That's my thing. I want to do the mocks.
You know
what I mean? Magic Online. Let's get going. There's some real formats. Let's get me on that. And
you could do it while sat in your house in your pants.
Well, the arena champs was sat in my house in my pants. You know what I mean? I was just sweating and shitting.
I'm never gonna get over the fact that in the UK they call underwear pants. It's not something I'm ever gonna get used to.
What? Where are you from?
I was raised from. Wait, you hear my accent? You're not sure where the accent comes from?
I'm terrible with accents, but now the fact you told me that you don't understand what pants are, it makes me think that you're definitely from stateside. Right?
I was raised in the States in Chicago for 12 years. Okay. So that's why.
When you say Chicago, I instantly think, okay, so you're like a CM Punk fan. Don't ask me why. Weirdly, okay, so I used to watch wrestling when I was a kid. Who doesn't watch wrestling when you're a kid? If you're a lad, right? You used to watch wrestling as a kid. But I always take my opportunities whenever I meet someone, and like Cedric, for example. And this is what stuck with me and kind of got me into wrestling. I said to him, like, have you got any advice for I want to be a cast, I want to be good, I want to get to where you are at some point. How did you do this? Obviously practice, that makes sense. Put lots of hours in, of course, makes sense. But he said, I watch a lot of wrestling. and he's like that over the top, the charismatic,
Yeah.
commentator. That's how he kind of angles his approach, and I'm like, obviously him and Patrick are the best duo ever. It's one of my goals in my like producing TO sort of world, because obviously I put on a few other shows with my friend Anurag, and one of my goals is to get those two back in the booth together. Like, I just think that's the viral moment, right? I'm gonna get Cedric and Patrick back in the booth, just even if it's just for one game or the finals or something like that, but just having those two go back and forth again. Nostalgia. I think I'm gonna do it because I always make it. Where's the will is the way, right?
I mean, when we thought about doing this podcast, we were like, who should we have as a co-host? And I was like, Luis, because we could use his American accent to give variety.
Someone with a bit of class and charm.
Yeah.
I got you.
Not my guttural northern.
You do translate these, right? Have like script along the bottom when you do it with just making sure.
But we finally found someone to start doing the little subtitles under Josh. It's getting
just
a bit rough in the last few
else.
episodes. Yeah. Just Josh. Have you heard him? Come on.
Have I heard him? Tell me about it. You're looking at the second best Royal Marine in Magic the Gathering right there.
Are you looking at yourself there?
No reflections here, my friend. Just looking at you and those big.
I actually remember that I actually reached out to you back in 2018. I remember this because we was going to GP Birmingham, and I saw Will pop up on Facebook. I was like, "Oh, is this Royal?" Because the core is quite a small place. Like,
very small.
It's if you know someone in the core, you probably know quite a few people, or you know someone through someone. I was like, "Who's this Magic the Gathering Royal Marine?" So I clicked on him. I was like, I'm gonna send him a message, and it was like, "Hey, Royal, I'm also Royal. I'm in Magic. I'm going to be a GP." Next minute, I'm getting invited into like group chats. I'm getting like, it was like all of a sudden like, here's everything.
So
coming to my world.
One thing I'm kind of really good at, and I think like a lot of people are kind of finding this out in like behind the scenes in industry stuff, is I'm very good at knowing people for the right jobs. Yeah. Like if you go, I'm looking for someone to do this, I'm like, okay, here's 3 names, here's 3 people for you, and I'll send you 3 links to this, or okay, I need 12 people to do that. I just when I talk to everybody, right? Like that's literally half my job at the time is just talking, but I'm interested in how people got from where they were to where they are now. How did they get there? Mistakes did they make? So you don't make the same mistakes. Yeah. But in doing that and talking and being friendly and nice to everybody, like I know so many people that can do basically any job, especially in Magic. Like, you want to produce, you want an editor, you want a lighting guy, you want to know how this is done, you want to do this. Like, even just from this podcast now that people aren't going to know about, we're now doing it in Ninja instead of doing it through Discord.
Yeah. Like, wait, did you say lighting guy? Hey, Josh, I think we found someone for you.
Josh couldn't afford him. He's expensive, that lighting guy.
I need to get my girlfriend's OnlyFans light out again because.
Well, that could go really dark there. We could go dark down that line. I don't know how PG you want your podcast.
I'm not touching that one.
Shout out to Ellie though. Love Ellie.
She makes some fantastic tokens, which I hear you have some really good ones as well, Will.
I like my tokens quite a lot. They're pretty cool. I don't know where I came up with the idea of it, but I kind of say to the guy that my mate Alberto, who makes my token, shout out to him. He will be at Commander Fest actually. I say to him, look, I want to do a series of me fighting the token. So like me versus an insect, me versus orcs, me versus whatever. And he kind of just gets that idea and sketches it out. And I'm like, okay. Then I'm annoying to him. Basically, I go, wait, can we change that slightly? Can we do this slightly? Can we add that? Can we take that away? This, that, and the other. And he just sees it, does it, comes up with a final thing. I'm like, yep, that's sweet. He does the last little bits of detail, sends it off, posts it me, and he's awesome. He literally sees what I see and makes it reality, which is a huge shout out.
I know Jack was a big fan of your tokens as well.
Which one? Were they the Rhinos ones?
The Rhinos tokens, yeah. He was rocking them. He was loving them on when he was on stream.
It was my stream is blimming on. I was like, you don't use my tokens. I'm turning this off. Like, what are you doing? Come on.
I told Ellie that you replaced their tokens for yours.
Yeah, well, that's what she gets. Okay, she hasn't said hello to me in ages, so now she's out of the game. Now that's it. Will Hall tokens from now on.
If you want to check them out, guys.
You saying before about like knowing people the right job. That's very reminiscent of the core, I think. Do you think a lot of the skills you get from being in the core, and I say with the Army and Royal Marines, and obviously you're a senior NCO now. Yeah. Do you think all those skills translate well into what you do with the Magic sort of stuff?
Like behind the scenes and stuff. Yeah. Like I've done nothing different to anybody else when I started, except for I'm like really good at managing people. Okay, which comes with one, just being in the military in general, you just discipline and everything like that. You follow orders. That's someone asks you to do something, you do it, and you've all got a common goal. One thing I'm finding in working in Civvy Street, which I guess you two might be able to tell me, is it's not like that. I'm not experiencing that. It's very much everybody's kind of out for themselves, and then there's a goal that they might help towards. Well, I've always been, okay, I want the best coverage possible. I want as many people playing Paper Magic as possible. Like, you'll see me just replying to random tweets for like some of the companies I work for. And people have got like, questions or are finding it hard to get hold of them because the companies are busy. I'll jump on and I'll message like, okay, tell me how you haven't got a store running this championship. I will get you so that store champion is running a championship. I don't like stupid things getting in the way of people, and I just know the right people to go to. I think people that I speak to trust me enough to give me their numbers half the time, so they can't ignore me. They find out the hard way when I start DMing them. I'm like, hey, take a screenshot. That person's got a problem. Can you message them? Can you sort that out for them? Sweet.
So I'm sort of similar way because I run a play group in my area, and certain parts of my life, that sort of military attitude really helps, especially when you've got a problem and you just need a solution because you'll find it.
Well, that's what we're good at, right?
What you said, alluded to before about the civilian sort of mentality is that I've actually had sort of a pushback because of it. And it's partly due to myself because I've not identified that sort of robust sort of way of getting things done doesn't really translate well with certain people, especially like people who've got no experience of sort of how military work, and people who tend to be quite not so. I don't want to say socially awkward, but like aren't as socially in your face as say like me or
it's
you
a
are.
Skill that you have to learn, right? And it comes with experience. So I was kind of like, when I first started working for Legacy European Tour, the team behind the cameras, I was very much like, we need to get this done, this done, this done, this done, this done. And the way I went about it was like very military, like rigid, like, okay, like I need the cameras to look like this, I need that on the screen, I need that. And they were kind of like, they took me to a side about 3 or 4 shows in, and were like, look, we need you to be a bit more softer when you approach. It's like don't 4-finger point when you want this stuff done. Like just like work with us a little bit. And be a bit
that works in the military because it's like do this.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
it's like that, but like in Civvy Street, it's not. So it's it's learning. Some people I can still do that too. Some people, I don't know what I'd say, like thicker skin or just get it. And I'm like, look,
they take it on the chin.
Can you do that? I can trust them to do that. I don't need to go and check up they've done that. Sometimes you just learn who you need to double check and check their work again. I guess it goes to all aspects of life in jobs, but you kind of learn that quicker. But then I only tried to surround myself with good people. Does that make sense? Like if you're if you're shit, I don't want to be around you, so to speak. Does that make sense? Like
no, that makes sense.
In the nicest way possibly, but I'm really busy. I work really, really hard. I don't want to like kind of have another job. I'm working with you because I think you can do that job well. I don't want to also be doing your job and my job.
Yeah, it's almost like a compliment when you're willing to work with someone. You've identified the fact that I know your value. I know your value, or you can bring to this project. But so also through that, I see you as like a friend then, because you develop those relationships.
Yeah. Well, I do like the shows that we run. So things like the Creator Clash, and Creator Clash is a really good example of this because we've got a lot more control of that with me and Anu. So it's my sort of half relationship is I deal with the players. Like I go out and find the players, and I do this, that, and the other end. Obviously, some players are really easy to find, some are not. And we will make a Twitter post who wants to play, blah blah, and yet so many people jumping on. But I will research everybody. I will make sure if they go, I'd love to play in your Timeless Clash because obviously it's like $1,000 tournament or whatever. Yeah. Everybody wants to play and the dog. Yeah. We've got some restrictions because obviously we want to be able to run more, so I need to have some big names.
Yeah.
I'm huge on not having everybody be like a Reed Duke because that, as much as that's good and probably would be better for us, I think people need that opportunity to grow their own platform. Right? Everybody just needs that one helping hand. I've took streamers on that have got like 10 average viewers.
People love an underdog. They just love an underdog. Like I love an underdog.
I wouldn't even say that underdogs are still really, really good players. They just maybe not be as known, and they might not have the opportunity to ever play against Reed Duke. But we can give them this opportunity. So I'll research everybody, and if they come on, they're like, I would love to do it a little bit, and then I go and check their Twitter, and they've not been live for a month. I'm like, well, you're not doing the grind. I want to reward people that are in this grind, which is content creation, because there's thousands of people and only one person will ever like kind of get the push, so to speak. So I want to try and we've all been there is the other one. Like we've all been there. Not that I'm a huge content creator or anything like that, but I'm in a position where I can help people that aren't as big as us on our platform. So I will try and make like, half of them will be big names, and then some of them will be like medium names on the edge of breaking out, kind of got like a good following and a good Twitter, a good, and I'll check everything. And I'll only select. So when you see those people like spamming or they get like the 16 followers to spam, I'm cool with that. But if I go check on your Twitch and you haven't been live for a month, or if I go, some people do it on Twitch, some people do it on YouTube. I go to YouTube and you've not posted a magic video in a month. Instantly I just get turned off. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to the next person.
But there's a point where you're just not a creator, and the whole point is you're a creator clash. If you're not creating, and
that's the other thing. I mean, I want to reward people for doing that hard work. Like you'll see me tweet it so many times. You know what I mean? Like hard work pays off, and that's all I'm saying. It's not. You don't have to be the best at anything. You just need to show me that you're working hard, because you can learn how to be the best. You can learn to edit better. You can learn to talk in the mic better.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, but you can't. That oomph, that want, that drive is something you have to have in you. You can't teach that.
Yeah, look at us right now, right? It's a fairly new podcast. We're here starting out. Will graciously accepted to come on and give us a hand.
It's Josh. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's Josh. You know what I mean? I've got Wills. We're here for each other. You know.
Right, we do spit. You got our podcast for us.
That's basically why you went. Got a podcast you want to be on? And I went, yeah. And then I was going to be on last week, so I was like, look, I've got. Literally, I'm doing LMS Prague this weekend. The European big modern tournament,
which I'd love to talk about actually in this pod.
Okay, it'd make more sense to get me on after that, because I can talk about that weekend. I can tell you everything. I was literally paired with Gabriel in the Sea, literally one of the OGs and biggest creators in Magic. So I mean, I got loads of stories.
I love Nassif. I've met him a few times at different tournaments. Great guy.
Yeah, shout out to him. He's always been really nice and polite to me whenever I meet him or speak to him. But he's only just started following me on the socials about, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months ago, I think. I think whenever Creator Clash won, so January he started following me on the socials. I always have like one big name every year I want to try and get to follow me, and I think this year was Brad Nelson. And because I'm a huge Brad Nelson fanboy, and it's really awkward because he's on one of my shows as well. And I literally tell him, and he's the nicest guy. He's so nice and polite. He's like, "No, my time's been. It's for you're going to be bigger than me now." I'm like, Brad, if you fucking knew, my friend, I'm not being the next Brad Nelson ever, dude. You've cemented that. You had that perfect era, the Versus series. I always show him this board behind me, which I got like when they did a GP in London. SCG came across, and they flew all the Versus series over, and we all queued up, and we met them. We got tokens signed, and just loads of like different instances. Weirdly, I was in the same hotel as them, so I got to like hang out with them that night and like have a few drinks with them and just like laying out the Magic decks. I think I was on Heroic that weekend, so I'm there with like Brad on one side and Tom Ross on the other, and we're just like talking about different cyborg cards at 1 a.m. and like that was
Tom Ross, the Infect guy.
Tom Ross, Tom the Boss Ross, my favorite Magic player.
That content got, because obviously I when I first got to Legacy, I was playing Infect, and I was like, oh my god, I was watching his videos like on repeat. I think my favorite match of all time on Magic is Tom Ross versus Reed Duke. I think Reed Duke was on Miracles when Divine and Top was in Legacy, and that match is like Tom just wins out of just outplays Reed in the most fantastic way possible. I think it was he basically recast a Blood Moon, and he had, what's that split second card that destroys enchantment?
Crows and Grip.
No, Crows and Grip.
He had a Crows and Grip in hand, but he had like counter spells. So what he did was he used his counter spell, so Reed would fight, and then he'd untap Crows and Grip, so Reed was out of resources. And it was like, my god, like some people would just, sure, it resolves, and then Crows and Grip. But he just made him waste his resources, untapped, and then just ended up winning. And I'm like, that is like next level Magic. That's next level.
He's got some amazing wins, just in general in Magic. Like, just he's never really played the tier 1 deck. He's always just stuck to his game plan and learnt it. And in fact, as you're fully aware, is a deck that you need to learn the ins and outs of, right? It's like any deck really in Modern. It's not as important these days because the power level is creeping up, and your deck will just win you games for no reason. Like with the Rhinos decks, like it's so powerful.
There's a lot of free wins in Modern.
Yeah. and it never really used to be like that, especially if you're playing like a tier 2 deck, so to speak, like what it used to be.
You had to play it perfect.
But then some players are still getting away with it. Like, shout out to Nikachu again. To me, one of the content, like, best content creators on the platform. He is so knowledgeable and so smart. And if anybody ever asked me, like, how can I improve my YouTube game, I will literally be like, I'll get you a one-to-one meeting with Nikachu. The way that he breaks down YouTube content and tells you about how the algorithms work, how the titles will work, how they want this, that, and the other. Because I'm literally, I've been for years now fascinated with Mr. Beast, right? Like, I think the guy is who isn't. Everybody now knows who Mr. Beast is, right? Yeah. I was fascinated with him. Like, he was still big, still Mr. Beast, but he wasn't like he is now, the just juggernaut. Back then he was, in his first couple of million, I think. And we just sat down and we just watched his content. We're like, why is this so good? What is really good about this? How can we adapt that to magic videos? And he's taken it and run with it. And you go look at Nikachu's channel now, he's got videos with millions of views on them.
I'll tell you what the key is. I'll tell you what the key is for that, and I bet you'll probably say the same, is the fact that you can click them at any time, that they don't expire.
Bingeable content. That's what I mean. Like,
content,
if I said, oh yeah, go watch my 5.0 that I got with an Euro pile with Field of the Dead in Modern, you'd be like, why? Those cards are dead. It's 2 years old. The meta's changed. It makes no difference. That video is now dead, and it's killing your algorithm in your YouTube page. But if you had the top 10 misplays of all time, you could watch it today. You could watch it in 5 years' time. You could watch it 5 years ago. You still click on it, and you still see that. And I don't believe he did that.
Cheaters as well, like top 5 cheaters. Like,
and this is the sort of stuff that Nikachu does now. He's like, he does like the reaction kind of content, breaks it down, because everyone loves drama, right? Like, it's in human nature, DNA. You love to see drama. If someone falls over in the street, you're going to look at them and you have a little snigger to yourself before you go and help them. But even sometimes these people don't even help them. They just get the phone out and record them, because that's the society we live in, which is blows my mind. But that's a different subject for another day. But that's the sort of content that he now makes, and it makes sense. That's the way, if you want to grow a YouTube channel, is really easy to do.
So, Will, you were asking about myself a little bit earlier. So, context-wise, I was raised in Chicago for 12 years, but I was born in Guatemala, left when I was about 9 months old, went to El Salvador till I was 3, Brazil till I was 7, then the States in Chicago for about 12 years, then Italy for a year and 3 months, because I'm an Italian citizen and national, and I lived there for a year and a half or so. And then I came to the UK, and I've been here 10 years now this year. So I've been...
How many languages can you speak?
I was just about to ask that question.
I can speak 5. Yeah.
Prove it. Eyebrows.
Si quieres te puedo hablar en español fantasticamente, lo he hablado toda mi vida sem problema. Ou se você quer, também pode falar em português. Eu morei no Brasil por 4 anos. É muito fácil de falar. Eu falei com Filipa. Se você lembra de Filipa, que está no cast com você, eu falado com ela.
I really hope in the video it's just some subtitles coming up saying, I don't believe I have to do this podcast with these 2 idiots that don't speak 5 languages or something. It's like,
Anche parlo italiano, l'italiano è facile. Questa è una lingua che è l'ultima che ho imparato, ma posso parlare bene, senza problema, è facile.
Poopity pie, Mario. Mario on the pizza.
Yeah, it's like Family Guy when Peter goes up and just poopity.
I work with a lot of Italians when I do like all the broadcasting, when I travel around Europe for it. It's always Italians I'm working with.
Et le français, je le peux pas aussi.
I know him. Okay,
j'ai étudié le français pour 6 ans. J'ai étudié au lycée pour les États-Unis. C'est facile, mais je ne le pratique en trop temps.
Have you ever played in like a team trios Magic tournament where they start talking in a different language thinking you don't know what it is?
I have an amazing story for you. Okay.
Before you do that, Luis, can I just tell you something that I just fell in love with you?
Sure. Thank you.
Do you want me to leave the call? I can leave the call if you want.
Right. So picture this. I started Magic a lot later than both of you. I started Rivals of Ixalan-ish time, right? Quite new to Magic. And not even properly. I had a Jace Planeswalker deck, and that's how I started playing Magic against the Commander deck. It was the worst time, because I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't until Dominaria, when I went to my first pre-release, that I learned that double blocking was a thing. Had no idea. And then in M19, when I went to my first proper pre-release, when I built my own deck and learned, knew the game a bit better, that I started building decks and playing other formats. I got into Standard, etc., etc. Now, in 2018, coming up to GP Liverpool, the team trios in Liverpool, that GP, I got into a team with a bunch of friends at the LGS. I had only just started playing a little bit of Modern. I was playing like 12 Bolt. I'd been playing for a month. I had no idea what I was doing. And guilds came out and everything. And I really loved the card, Arclight Phoenix. It was my favorite card in the world. I was like, I think this card's busted. I bought 4 of them off people at the store for like £1.50 each because everyone's like, this card sucks. It doesn't do anything. And suddenly it became the new hotness. Everyone loved the card. In GP Liverpool, in the Team Trios event, there was a lot of people from all over. We're in Europe. It's easy to find, French players, Italian players, and everything. And I built mono red hollow Phoenix. I don't really think anyone else was really playing it at the time. I thought it was cool. Yeah, I grabbed Burning Inquiry to tilt my opponents, hollow one, Phoenix, all that, the good stuff.
Yep.
And in one of the matches against a bunch of Spanish players, I come down. And I'm like, oh, hey guys, my name is Luis. How are you? From Chicago. How's it going? How's the event? They're Spanish. I know they're Spanish. I can see it from their name when we went up to the event. And then they start speaking to each other loudly in Spanish because no one can understand them. Because the way I introduce myself, I sound as American as can be. I sound like a proper cowboy. They have no idea what's going on. And they start saying cards like, I think he has... Bolt here, don't play your what's it called? The spirit that exiles a card like a counter spell, but not a counter spell. What's it called? Spell queller. Okay. They're like, oh, don't play your spell queller here. Wait till next turn and then do this. So I'm like, okay, they have a spell queller in hand, and they kept talking like this and telling me cards they have in hand for both my game, my teammates' game, and I'm like, sure, yeah, just keep doing whatever you do. And then at the very end, when we beat them, I think quite handily. I said, muchas gracias, buen jugado, fue un placer jugar con ustedes, completely in fluent Spanish, and their jaws dropped. They were like, what did we just... It was the best moment of my life. It was so funny.
Yeah,
so funny.
There's a lesson to learn from that.
Yeah, I tried a similar thing with the Italians the next round, but they saw my last name and it said Zucchino. They're like, no. Io credo che lui è italiano. I think he's Italian. They were a lot more cunning and conniving that way. They were ready for it.
Yeah, I've heard one of my friends, Ed Wally, that's got like similar story to that, where he's just like they're talking and he's just like, yeah, I know exactly what's in the hand. Don't play that. This is what they got. They're playing that, and it works out really well. It's good when that thing happens, but then that's just their downfall, right? You're underestimating your opponent. Rule number one: never
underestimate your opponent. No.
And I top 10 that GP as well with my teammates. I think my score was 11-3. I think was my ending score.
Not bad for a guy a month into the game. Like
the team that beat us for our winning into the top 8 was Toral's team with Arne. They beat us so close. It was so tilting because it was such a great time, and I didn't know who they really were at the time, but it was really nice. It was
you mentioned spell color. My first ever modern tournament I ever played, because I was just like a standard truther. I put together blue white spirits in modern, and I loved that deck. I still love that deck. It's very bad now, but don't play it. But I really love that deck. The Aether Vials and spell quellers, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And I went to it was back in. Do you remember the shop in Widnes?
Yeah.
So it was like in the old spot, and there was like, I'm pretty sure there was like 28 players on that modern tournament. It was great. And I literally borrowed people's Aether Vials. I borrowed people's like last minute cards. I was like, I put this deck together because I didn't own it fully. I went 5-0 in the entire tournament, and that was me hooked. So it's modern. I won the entire thing. I was like, oh my god, I love this.
I know that feeling.
Did I ever tell you that's what I registered in the Pro Tour? In standard was blue white spirits.
Oh
no,
it was blue white flash at the time. So this is back when this is the Pro Tour where A4X Marvel was like the breakout deck of the tournament.
Yeah.
Going into that tournament, it was Mardu Vehicles was like the deck to beat. It was so good, so consistent. All the kill spells, all the aggro, all the ramp, the curve was brilliant on it. And that's what I was originally on, and I just didn't like playing the deck. I've never been a fan of playing the best deck. And literally 6 hours before we had to register for the Pro Tour, like lock your deck in, on Modo, someone just went 5-0 twice with this blue-white flash deck. And it basically played all the spirits because that's, all the spirits are from the same kind of block and a few others. And I was like, do we have these cards? Because I was in the house with a couple of other British lads. And one of the lads was like, yeah, I think we've got them all. I was like, okay, let's put it together. Let's play a few games. Let's have a little look. Played them, and I just absolutely ran through all the decks everyone's playing. I was like, right, that's it. Locks it in. I've been literally testing for like 6 weeks up to this point with Mardy vehicles, and was 6 hours before the Pro Tour I changed decks. And I managed to make day 2, and I beat every player that I've heard of except for Seth Manfield. He gave me my first loss. Damn it. And he top decked it. I reminded him that the other day as well when I was speaking to him. I was like, you don't remember this, but I remember this, Seth. When you were 2-time world champion, we were playing the round 3 in the pod to be the pod winner at my first Pro Tour. I'm against Seth Manfield, who's literally just won his 2nd world championships. I was like, okay, this is going to be sick. It's going to be a fun game. And game 1, I smash him. Game 2, he smashes me. And game 3, I've got like this creature, and I've just strapped all these enchantments to it. It's like a flying, life-linking, trampling beast of death.
Yeah.
And he picks up his top card and does his like little shuffle that he does like this.
Yeah.
And just goes, and just spits this removal spell on my creature. And I was like, well, I'm dead. Like, I can't come back. I was like, yeah, you got it. And then he came back and beat me from it. But
do you know what though? It's what you really said interesting then was like you don't like playing the best deck, and I think there's merit in that.
No,
because if you play the best deck, you've got the biggest target on your head, and it comes back to we had this discussion, I think I'm not sure it was the previous pod or with the team, that the deck selection is the purest form of choice you have before you even sit down and play a game of Magic. Like before you even, if you say 0-2 scrub a tournament, you've already made a lot of decisions which indicate skill. It was with Jack. We mentioned with Jack.
Yeah, it was with Jack.
Jack said I'm not the best player in the room. I'm not. So I picked this deck for that reason. But to me, that is a skill in itself. Picking that deck and picking what you can play, and also in that field, if you pick a deck that's like what and the opponent has to like pick up the cards and read, or like what is their game plan, because they've probably not prepared that deck, and you probably have picked that deck because you know that deck, you know how to play that deck. So that decision is a skill in itself.
I'd say the skill part and decision you're talking about isn't in the deck; it's in knowing the format.
Yeah.
Like, so you know that this format's good. You can still take a deck and just have a great sideboard for it, or even main decking some cards. We've just seen that in Prague, where the most played card was Pick Your Poison. Yeah, everybody's seen the meta. They know what the ley lines.
Card is great, by the way.
Like, and it was the most played card in 554 decks. It was like 779 copies through the whole weekend, and that's just knowing the format and kind of having that direction where you want to go in and attack it. I think is huge and rewards you for knowing the format. You can pick a deck up if you're a good player. You can probably play it semi-optimal. Some decks are obviously harder to play than others, but like playing Yawgmoth, right? Like Yawgmoth has been a good deck for years now. Yeah, it's now probably at its all-time peak because all its bad cards keep getting banned against it, which is great. But it was still good through those metas where Fury was a thing, where Living End was a thing. All these metas, it's because you could just tailor that deck to kind of battle against these sort of threats. And I think it was really, really key in prepping for a tournament. And there's so much more to prepping a tournament, mind you, but that's where I would say like learning the format and knowing the format is the biggest skill. Because if you just want to pick a deck up, you can just pay someone that plays a lot of Magic. There's so many sideboard guides out there. This is my 75. Play this. This is my sideboard guide. Follow this, and you're going to do half good. But sometimes you're going to fall short of not knowing what some cards do in some instances.
You need the reps in as well with that deck. So tell me about Prague. Like, you spent the whole weekend in Prague. Tell me about it, because that was a massive modern thing. I watched some of the coverage when I could. It's all still on YouTube.
So it was basically the LMS. So this isn't the regional championships. This is basically a bigger version of what happens in your local LGS, which the winner will qualify to go play in Naples and the RC. The RC is where we will send 20 to 30 players to the Pro Tour and 2 players to the World Championship. So there's never actually been an easier way to get to the World Championships than there is now. It's crazy that more people don't understand the statistics of how prestigious that tournament is and how hard it used to be to get to. Now it's slightly easier because you can do it at the RC level just by qualifying by playing in your local game store. It's really, they've missed a few steps out there. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy. You're literally playing against the best players in your region, and the LMS is like the next one down from that. So it is a big store championship, so to speak. I spent over 2 days.
Some mental prizes.
Oh yeah, like top 8. So I think in total prize money this weekend was $22,500, as well as 30 booster boxes, as well as a bunch of like card market credit, as well as invites to the RC for like I think the top 36 players, and the top 8 will get like flight vouchers to get their flights paid for to fly to Naples. Like the prizes are really good. Don't worry, the entry fee is can be steep as well. I think it was like €100, but playing Magic, if you play Magic to gain money, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
It's a luxury. It's not it's not a necessity, which is one of my I get why people want to play, but everyone wants to play and they want to have value when they play, when they feel like they get something even if the day doesn't go their well, because this is a game of variance and luck and skill all combined, right? Like the skill in Magic the Gathering is minimizing the luck.
I've always said if you can play the game, like that GP I first met you, 2018, I day 2 that GP, and with my prize money and my side event boosters and all that, that whole weekend for me was free. Like I didn't pay a penny, and that you've got 2 days of your favorite hobby for free. That is a win. That is a
huge win.
This is what I say when it like, and I think it, at least I like to think it comes across when I do commentary and like, you know, just even here on the podcast, and I enjoy doing this all. Yeah. If I wasn't working on these shows, I would be at home watching these shows anyway. All I'm doing is I'm now watching it from a different place in the world, in Europe. I'm just happen to be in the same room watching it still, but yeah, I get to talk over it now. Yep. And I think like I bring a lot of, I know what people want to see, and it might just go underneath the radar. Any event that I'm on and I kind of have some sort of in charge power on it is I will never cut around short. Like some people are like, okay, that's our 2 games. We'll be back shortly. And then it's like, you know, we'll be right back for like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
It's awful. It's the worst feeling.
You just leave. You just leave. They're like, oh.
That's right. You're going to go off. You're going to go find something else. You're going to go, you know, watch someone else playing a challenge or whatever like that. So I try and, it's not as good as watching people play Magic, but I try and get as much games in as possible. That's why legacy events do it kind of different. We get people that are going sideboard and move them across, so we get the most amount of games possible. Yeah. But also when that runs out, I will have on my screen in front of me how many games are playing in the room still. And if I see there's like, you know, 10 games still, and one of them's had a deck check, so it's plus 20 minutes, that's like half hour of downtime. So I will sit there, and whoever I'm with, I will just be throwing them questions. I'll be interacting with the chat. I'll keep it going like it's a stream more than a show. And, I think it goes under the radar. Like I don't think as many people kind of understand that that's like something that gets brought across. To like I only ever see it in shows that I do because I think I'm probably more aware of it. I'm sure other shows do
this
it.
Is how you can tell Bill's a professional entertainer.
Well, but I'm not. I genuinely.
He's just good at spinning.
He's so good. Yeah, so good.
This like so. We'll do a quick back history because I know you're going to end up asking me at some point. So I started. I came back from Afghanistan 2014, and I was like, right, I need something to, you know, I didn't know at the time, but later on down the line, I now know, okay, I need somewhere to focus because obviously Afghan's pretty full on. If people didn't know, especially around that 2014 era.
Yeah. I've never been to war, but
it's all right. You'll get there one day.
Actually, looking at the news, I think I might.
Yeah. No kidding. You might. I think I'm going just at the right time. It's all drones now. I just had to worry about IEDs on the floor. So that was like kind of, I had to come back out of focus and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was like, right, well, I used to play this card game as a kid. It looks really cool. I did like a little bit of Google search on it, some cards, bought some cards on eBay. And then I went to an LGS. I just Googled like any events. Didn't know, but it was actually a pre-release for M14. So like, it was like, oh, okay, this is sick. So I just turned up, weirdly bumped into some people that I knew as a kid and like started talking to them. And then they actually showed me what to do because I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, okay, these look good. Played then. Then 2014, we started playing winner boxes. And I was like, okay, I want to win a box. Eventually I ended up winning a box. And then there was like a little local season tournament thing. So I started, right, I want to win that. Won that. And then I was like, okay, I want to get on the Pro Tour. So I started becoming one, a grinder, as they used to call them back in the day. And then I actually got on the Pro Tour.
That's also the app that you...
That's the app that we met on. And then that's the one you DM'd me on for this show, right? Exactly, like, Will, can you come on my show? Well, at least I thought it was come on my show. You thought it was something else. And it was. And I
made sure to change the spelling back, so it should have been.
Autocorrect. I'm sorry. Where is that? So I became a grinder. Wanted to try and get on the Pro Tour. I was able to get to the Pro Tour after a damn long season of grinding. I went 38 top 8s without getting a win. And then I finally got my one win, went to the RPTQ as it used to be back then, which is now the RC, went undefeated at the RC, got on the Pro Tour. Great. But the second I qualified for that Pro Tour, I didn't play Magic for 4 months. It was like, oh, I've hit my goal. I don't want to do it. Like, what am I going to do now? So I didn't know what to do. So I was like, wait, I'm going to become a streamer. I want to stream Magic. Bear in mind, streamers weren't what they are now. They weren't. It wasn't a thing. You had a few. You probably had like the big 5, and that was it. In Magic, that is obviously streaming in general. But I learned everything from scratch. From literally this computer I've got next to me now is, I don't know, what, 6-7 years old. But I built it from scratch. I researched how to build it, got the parts, put it together. Did all the earthing, did all the software, made the overlays, did OBS, worked out bit rates, worked out all this, made it all together, and then started streaming. Did all the cardinal sins of streaming, where you join different discords and everybody tries to help you, but no one actually cares about you. They're just there for their own gain, and you do this, that, and the other. And I fell for all the different loopholes that everybody does. But then my goal was, okay, I want to become a Twitch partner. That was the goal, right? I want to be a Twitch partner. So I did a lot of streaming that way. Eventually become a Twitch partner. When I became a Twitch partner, weirdly, the whole Afghan 24/7 thing that I do now starts. So that's kind of taking me away from streaming. I didn't really have any, well, what do I want to do now? I don't know.
The Ukraine thing.
Yeah, Ukraine. For people who don't know, I ran a stream playing old Pro Tours and GP coverage on probably about a 6-week loop. You will never see the same show twice in about a 6-week loop. And all the money made from it goes to Ukraine charities to support kids that lose their fathers in the war. And that's my laptop over there that none of you can see. It's kind of set up. It's been there. The laptop hasn't been turned off in over 2 years now. It's literally screaming at us. It's good. It does the job, and it's all for a good cause. But because that's live means I can't go live myself, so I really miss streaming. Is what it is. I'll take the sacrifice. I was watching content. Obviously, we had COVID hit, and then because it was kind of like at the right time, like COVID, I was able to stream through, and then Ukraine hit just as we kind of coming out of COVID, so the stream just kept going, and I didn't stop. But the Paper Magic event started coming back. Legacy European Tour put on the first one. It was sealed, I think, and they didn't really have a good coverage. They didn't really have English speaking casters and stuff like this. Like it was like they were trying to cast English, but they were I think they were Italian, so that their English wasn't great.
Coverage was just dead, wasn't it? It just wasn't a thing.
Yeah, well, it was the first live event of paper coverage since COVID. Yeah. So it had like a huge, it kind of sold out almost. Like the viewership could have been a lot better than what it was, but it was really hard to watch that show. There was so much downtime when it wasn't. No one, like the casters, no disrespect to them or anything like that. They didn't know the cards. They didn't know the interactions. They couldn't really speak in English. That like the dice you couldn't see the dice and the light and the glare. Everything that could go wrong with a stream kind of went wrong that stream. And I just messaged them. Like I just sent them a lovely email to the company, and I went, "Hi, I love the content. I love that it's coming back. I think these are some improvements that could be made." It's just like, have bigger dice, have people that English is probably their first language, have lighting at this angle, blah, 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 blah. Just like, like 5 different pickup points that would just overall improved it all. And they replied back to me and said, "Well, do you want to come be a caster?" And I was like, that is not what I said. Like, and not at all did I mention that I would, I wanted to be in. And as soon as I mentioned, I went, "Well, yeah, I'm not going to turn it down." Like, I've watched all these great casters in the past at GPs, and you're giving me an opportunity. I'm like, "Yeah, cool, I'll do it. You're going to fly me there and do it? Sweet, let's do it." Turned up, it was me, Harry, and Philippa, and we all kind of had no idea what was going on. They both say that they had casting experience in the past. If you ask them both now, they'll probably say they didn't have casting experience in the past. It was a very big step up for us all. Bear in mind, I was going into it raw, never doing it before, and I might one day go back.
We've all cuffed a job that.
Oh, mate, it was cuffing. But the Royal Marine thing, though, is what I think set me apart from both. And they both have the strengths and stuff, but what really set me apart from them was the work ethic, right? Like in between when they were on casting, I was doing stuff. I was trying to get metagame breakdowns, get
concurrent activity
tables. Yeah, that's something. I just didn't stop working, and I didn't do.
Yeah.
And from that, I got invited back and back and back and back and back, and I kept getting invited back. At one point, I went on something like a 7-8 stream streak without ever having a break from it. You know what I mean? Like I did so many back to back.
I'm about ready to send this to the Royal Marines. Let them know it's a great recruitment video.
Well, you know what I mean? It was good, but like I don't take credit for it because there's so many people behind the scenes that do it. But going from that absolutely unworkable stream to where kind of is now, it's a very different beast now.
Yeah.
Now it's really good. It's watchable. It's still got its flaws. There's still a lot I'd want to change with it, but obviously they're about to lose the RC contract. So I hope they keep doing like
haven't they?
They've lost it. They've lost it to Tournament Center. I'm kind of hoping that. Well, one, I'm hoping Tournament Center pick us up, like some of us, we can go across the center. But it's no one's reached out. I don't know anything about that, so it is what it is. But the Legacy, I'm kind of hoping Legacy carry on doing some sort of big event series, kind of like what Axiom does. Like they're a big enough company. They've got enough. They've been around the game long enough to understand how it all works. They've got good minds, like myself and a couple of the other casters, to kind of get them moving in the right direction. They could have a really good tournament series. And as I said a little bit ago, I just want to see more people playing competitive Magic. Either if I'm watching it at home or I'm watching it in paper, I just want to see the best play the best. I want to see metas shifting, and that's where the SCG was so good. And one thing that hasn't ever happened in coverage yet, the closest people to it is the NRG series. And you're both players, so you're going to relate to this, right? Like, why was coverage of SCG so good? Why? Because you wanted to play in it.
Yes.
Right? You wanted
it was
to be the person getting that deck tech. You wanted to be the person that Cedric and were talking about. Oh, that they've come back this week. You wanted to be on the leaderboard. Basically, everybody's got an ego in Magic, and everybody wants that scratched. Everybody wants to be on camera. They want to get that feature.
Once it's there forever, and they can go back to it like a fun memory.
What I mean.
Go back.
You can go here. Go watch me on YouTube. Oh, here's my game of this. Here's that.
It's like Jack talked about the other day when he was on stream. Finally, it is childhood dream. It's exactly what he wanted. He was so happy.
That's a memory for life for him, though.
It's perfect.
That's a memory for life. Like even now, my first ever Axon event, I top 8'd in Legacy, and even then, I've still got it on my. I think I've still.
I don't think I've ever been on stream yet. One of these days.
It wasn't stream, but they put the top 8 in there and the pictures, and I've still got obviously from Axiom last year, and also that first top 8. I've still got it as a tab on my Google, just so every now and again it's like, oh, let's have a look.
I got a little shout out for that actually. I got a little shout out, GP Liverpool, because I was on Odd Deck. They gave me a little tidbit shout out of Luis Alvarez Zucchino on Hollow Phoenix. It was great. I was on over the moon. I was completely new to Magic. I was playing with players who had been playing since donkey's years, and here I am, new kid on the block.
Yeah. Now, if that happened, say GP Liverpool just happened this weekend, and you're playing this rogue deck with Phoenix with this new card that no one's playing this deck, but you managed to do well with it at the thing. This is where I mean, I would instantly send your deck list of your name and your Twitter handle, and I would send it to the right people at Wizards, and you'd probably get like an article wrote about you by who is it who writes it? It's begins to see. He's on it. Let me look at my DMs. He was in my DMs a second ago. Brag. Everybody's in Will's DMs. Colbin, is it?
The most connected man in Magic.
I'm definitely not the most connected, but I'm getting there. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm. A lot of people reach out to me at the minute about doing things. And
you heard it here first. If you aren't connected to Will yet, you're gonna be.
Look, I'm always. If anybody wants to make content, message me. If you want to be a producer, an editor, a lighting person, a deck builder, a writer, I know people that do all these, and I can get you in contact with them. I don't know everything myself, but I know the people. I've got a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, so I can be like, okay, right.
I messaged you one day. I think you're on you breaking work. I was like, mate, I want to set up a stream to do every. Like, I'm not going to be a streamer. I just want to do it sporadically to my friends. And you sorted me Streamlabs out. Where to put the
little
bars and stuff, and it's like, mate, it was like a 20-minute job. And I was like, oh, mate, that would have took me 3-4 days.
That 20-minute job took me 5 years to do. You know what I mean? Like I say, I'm self-taught on everything when it comes with streaming. So now I helped like Nathan Stoyer, the former world champion. He was starting streaming. I was like, let's do it. Do a one-to-one Skype call. We do a one-to-one Skype call. I'm like, move this here, do that. That's your bit rate. Do this, that, the other. And I never say no. Right, like that's one of the ones from the last podcast that they clipped. Is I literally never say no. I will help anybody I possibly can, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you help somebody do something?
That's the thing about Magic. There's like even if you get to the point where like, hey, you're not playing the game anymore, or you play it very sporadically, you've still got that gathering aspect. You've still got that social aspect where
it's the best bit.
you're making these connections, you're making these friends, and even if you step away from the game of Magic, unlike say if you were a COD streamer or whatever, you step away from that game of Magic, you've still got friends, you've still got skills, you all these skills that you've learned through making streams, making casting, and all this stuff. These skills are directly transferable to other things in life.
Yeah, well, don't worry. The biggest influence to me in my life is obviously joining the core. Like there's things I learned in that is literally warped my life forever, right? And as you're fully aware of that, you know, I was just the geeky kid. I am we are, I suppose, an anonymity in the Royal Marines, right? Like now it's kind of a bit cooler to be geeky, but like
I was
not cool to be a geek.
As a teenager, I was quite fat as a teenager.
Yeah, mate,
honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I was fat, 100%.
I went on my day one of my PMC. PMC is like a 5-day course you do before you join the Royal Marines to make sure that you can keep up and you can answer questions or whatever. I turned up to that with black nail varnish in my hair, long hair tied to my head in cornrows because I thought I was going through barbed wire and shit. Got absolutely rinsed, but like I was that sort of like grungy rocker geek. You know what I mean? Like that was me. And I've never changed.
I have a haircut. Piercings in my ears, piercings in my ears, and piercings in my eyebrows. And everything.
I think I was always a mega geek. I was on World of Warcraft all day as a teenager.
Mate, OG. I always say I had literally had to join the Royal Marines to stop playing World of Warcraft. I played it from release for 3 years until I joined the Royal Marines. Night Elf Rogues, let's go. Where's my Night Elf Rogue?
I played it from release. I was a dwarf paladin when I first started.
Paladin's my D&D class of choice. Like if I ever do D&D, it's always a panda.
Orc Hunter, this guy.
They were all right. I remember at the start, I always was jealous of their ability to it's like go kill 5 boars and you're running around in circles trying to find boars, and I was just like drop that menu, boar that direction, go, and you're like
so I used to, when I was on World of Warcraft, I used to basically just do arena, and I got to the point where I got to that high rating. I was only facing like the YouTube kids. So I'm pretty sure there was YouTube videos of me where I was like, I think I was like the 3rd highest rated hunter in Europe or something like that at one point. Like I just played hunter. Hunter was my jam.
I love chasing gladiator every season. Oh, that was a joy.
It's fantastic.
This is past my time. I don't think we had gladiator when I was playing World of Warcraft.
I joined during
it'd be 2200 rating. That's what it would be for arena. In World of Warcraft, if that makes any sense to you.
I was the highest at one point. I was the highest double DPS 2v2 team in like all of Europe. Me and a warrior. We used to play from Germany.
I think my accolade was I was realm first Zen master cooking in Mists of Pandaria, so I have that going for me. And we were the first guild to beat a normal raid 3rd boss in the race for like world firsts during Heart of Fear. I think it was.
See, what makes me laugh is like people like you're both playing it literally like on hard mode, where I would literally just used to play my Night Elf Rogue. I got level 60. That was the cap back then.
Yeah.
And I would just run around by myself, just like stealing things. And like I was having a whale every time. I didn't need a guild. I was just like plodding along, and like I had the worst. Like I had herbalism, whatever we would call that. Herbalism was like the worst one ever to have. It's no money, but I could make poison.
I think I was 10 years old when vanilla came out, more or less, or roughly around that age.
Oh jeez, I've always wanted to go back and play it on hard mode, but I'm so busy in my life at the minute.
I did play during vanilla.
I can't do it.
So I categorized my life back then in 3 things. It was my relationship with my ex. It was World of Warcraft, and it was like whatever I was doing for a job at the time. And as soon as anything else came into that, I had to drop one, and the first thing that I had to drop was World of Warcraft. It was it's just too much. It's like a full time, especially because I get obsessed with stuff. So I'm very obsessive. So
me too.
I was very obsessed with that, and I kept on it with the arena system. It was very like it was very predatory in terms of like if you miss a day, then
if you stop,
especially at that high level, and people that committed. But
shout out to all the neurodivergent nerds who get obsessed over things super easily. I know you're all listening, so
it's good though. Like I'm super dyslexic. If anyone hasn't ever known, I tell everybody. But like you see things differently, and I kind of, I say, get obsessed with it. But the thing is, I want, as long as I'm interested in it, like Dungeons and Dragons, I know everything about Dungeons and Dragons. Magic the Gathering, from when I started, I haven't really gone back, but from everything from when I started to now, like I feel like I know quite a lot about it and things. If I can get obsessed with something, I'll get obsessed with it.
I love D&D, man.
Oh my dude, don't.
I'm playing. So right now we're playing 5e. That's the campaign we're on. Not my favorite. I actually like Pathfinder a lot. 3.5. Okay,
so Pathfinder is quite close to advanced D&D, second edition, which is in my. I've always said it, and I die. It is D&D on hard mode.
I prefer it. It's so much more fun.
So much more fun knowing that you can just die from a spider biting you because you messed up instead of. I'm gonna self-heal, and I'm gonna surge, and I'm gonna have extra attacks, and then I'm gonna cast a spell while I'm sneaking. It's like you don't work as a party. To me, in my personal experience of Dungeons and Dragons, Dungeons and Dragons do what you want, have fun. No one, I don't. Let my opinion change anything.
So when I got back into the sort of the nerd world after I put World of Warcraft to bed and all that, and I got back into nerd world, it was actually during because I'm like Will's a regular in the core. I'm a reservist. I've still gone through the same training, but.
Kind of easier. He did it on easy mode, ladies and gentlemen.
And
I will not let him forget that.
Still save 30 miles, Royal. And anyway, and I actually passed out with a regular troop, to be fair, in the end.
I also don't think we did the same 30 mile for my line. Just saying,
the same 30 mile.
I don't think you did the same one as me. You didn't finish over the bridge, did you?
So you finish over the bridge. It's not the one. It's not the one where you yomp a mile up to the. That was the old one.
Yeah, I think I did that one.
You go over the bridge, and then like the coaches are just like. To the left.
I also did mine with a broken foot. I'm just saying. Don't want
to. I did mine with a blood infection.
All right.
I got hospitalized. I got hospitalized for 5 days the next day.
Oh wow.
Oh no. I got told that I might miss my King's Squad pass out. But anyway, carry on with your a great story.
Else says fucking dits over here non-stop.
No. Go on. Tell us about this story that I can't remember what it was.
So the reason I got into nerd, so I put World of Warcraft to bed and all that, and it's been 3 or 4 years since touched any sort of nerding, and that craving was there. And my mate on I think Wednesday was like a day where I just wasn't doing any fizz. It was a rest day, and he says, "Oh, I'm doing Dungeons and Dragons tonight in Manchester." I said, "Do you want to come?" And I was watching Stranger Things at the time as well. When Stranger Things came out, I was like, "Is that what they were playing on Stranger Things?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Go on, fuck it, let's go." So I went there. I'm there. I've got a shaved head. I'm like twitchy as anything. Like I'm like spasming and anything. Like I'm just like, and all these people are like around me, like people you wouldn't nearly associate with in that sort of world, especially sort of like the military sort of firearms sort of side of things. You wouldn't necessarily talk to these sort of people. Anyway, I get Ian. His name is a lovely bloke. Give me a character sheet. I was a sorcerer. Sat me down. Started doing goblin voices, and I'm like, I'm looking around, looking at everyone. And for 3 hours, I just forgot about all the shit. I was like, I forgot about the training I was doing. I forgot about the fact that I'm in pain. I forgot about that. I've got a honking insertion jump in a couple of days. I forgot everything for 3 hours, 4 hours. I was in this world, and I was like, I felt okay. I felt like everything was all right.
That's the good thing about D&D though, is because as long as you've got a DM at the front who can like half describe what's going on. If I go, okay, there's a purple dragon stood on 6 barrels wielding a hammer made of skulls. You're both thinking of that, but in 2 different ways in your own mind. So you're literally, your own mind is generating what you think, and you're the one making it in your head, but they're just almost narrating it and giving you the tidbits to build it.
It was fantastic, and I was like, and every time, like during, like people have like a yomping song. My yomping song was just thinking about D&D, like.
What was mine? Mine was "I Want to Be a Psycho" by Disturbed, and I've never at that point I've never heard that song before in my life. By the way, besides like I guess 6-second intro to it, and all I had for 8 hours going through my head is "I want to be a psycho," and I'm like it lines up really well, like being a Royal Marine. And all we did for 8 hours was just yomp, but that was my my yomping song was, and I've never listened to it since either. I should probably listen to that. To be fair, let me write that down. Listen to "I Want to Be a Psycho."
Man, what a tidbit, isn't it? Because I don't know, D&D has always been very fun. I started also like 4 or 5 years ago playing it. Right now, I'm playing as a intelligent goblin named D's Nuts. It's fantastic. That's the I
was with the artist that did D's Nuts. When was I in Pisa? January when I was in Pisa at Damnation. They had the artist, and I was I was trying to tell him. I was like, I wasn't being rude, obviously. Like I know some artists, and we had like RK Post and Jeff were there, so, and they're two of my really good friends, like artist wise. And he was there as well. And I was like, oh, okay, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm on the artist. Like, oh, sick, cool. Like, what do you do? He's like, I've done quite a bit of art for Magic the Gathering. So I'm like, oh, sweet. Any cards out? No. And he rattled off loads like cards that I just didn't know. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then he went, I did the Goblin card, Mind Goblin. And I was like, what? I was like, you did Mind Goblin. And he didn't, he didn't understand. I was like, you understand you've got you should be cashing in on that, right? That is one of the most memey cards ever printed in Magic the Gathering. Everybody would love like an art proof of that, or a print of it, when you can literally sign that, because he's not allowed to actually call it Mind Goblin. It's got to have Goblin with the blank bit. I was like, yeah, but there's nothing stopping you signing it Mind Goblin and then your name. Like you could sign Mind and then below it have your name or something. Like
that's so good.
I was like, you need to cash in on that. I promise you, that's your moneymaker. Wizards literally chucked you up an easy bat here. You need to knock it out of the park. And obviously the art's amazing. He's a really talented artist, really, really nice guy as well. But I was like, mate, you can make more money in this way. And a lot of the older artists don't understand the new generation of how to kind of like make money from your art. RK Post is probably the best one at it. He's very good at it. He knows exactly how to make money from his art, and he does it. And he's awesome. If you ever get to meet RK Post, one of the best people in Magic the Gathering. I fucking love whenever I'm at an event with him. He's so cool. Also, me and him play Pokemon Go together. Don't want to brag. me and RK Post is there throwing our balls at Pikachus. So take that whatever you will.
Man, I love how many tangents we've gone on. We've gone from Magic all the way to World of Warcraft, D&D, talking about tokens and mind goblins and these nuts.
Shall we talk a bit about the modern meta? Because obviously Prague was modern.
Yeah, yes, it was modern.
So you want to tell me a bit about, because I was expecting lots of domain variants, and I think that's what it was really, wasn't it?
It was the most played deck. Domain, when you see like the domain zoo, basically like Lil under the gay pack of the guild pack plus Sign Draco. Those two together in basically any deck right now is really, really good.
But it wasn't a domain deck that won it, right? It was Reanimator.
No, it was Titan that won.
Titan.
Oh no, it was Titan. Yeah, sorry.
Titan won, but more importantly, I would say is the top 8 was 8 different decks in mod.
Yeah,
eight different decks. The domain decks, I think there was 6 in the top 32, which isn't a huge number when it comes to modern, considering it was the most played deck in day 1 and conversion rate to day 2.
Right.
So,
pick your poison, hell of a card.
It is a hell of a card. We saw a lot of games on the feature match as well, where I think it was in a top 8 match. The domain Leyline player had Leyline Draco all 3 games. On turn 0, turn 2.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But the Murktide player was able to pick your poison. They basically one game they really did flood out. I think they drew something like 8 lands in a row, and you're not really going to win that game.
No.
But the other one, like as soon as the Leyline Draco like 1-2 punch was kind of answered, and they did it 2 different ways. One with pick your poison, the other with dress down removal spell. There was really no more gas. They kind of really reliant on that line, and it didn't pan out. So I think it's a really good deck, and I'm pretty sure it's going to keep winning.
Yeah.
But there was 2 variants that really came out from the weekend at Prague. There was the 5-color zoo list that everybody knows. You got the green creatures, you got the tribal flames, the big kind of reach package. Yeah, what I would class as more traditional kind of zoo. There was also a couple of decks. I think Mengu and Marco kind of were playing them as well. They cut the green creatures in a more counterspell heavy deck, so they were playing
with expressive iteration as well.
Expressive iteration, counterspell, and forces of negation as kind of a tempo match. So they were, a turn 1 Leyline with a Ragavan, counter you removal spell, and then just kind of run away with value that way. And I really like that deck. I think that I might actually pick that deck up this
the one
week.
I'll be looking at.
Yeah, that's the Guild Pact Murktide one. Is that essentially kind of like that one?
I think he might have had 2 Murktides in the boys, like a bit of a top end.
Yeah, it's what people are calling Guild Pact Murktide, but it's not.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
I liked that deck, but then there was a like a grief packaged one as well, which was playing it, which
The
got into the
instant-
top 8.
Oh,
So it plays Leyland and Draco, but also plays Grief, Not Dead After All, like that sort of whole package as well.
right. Okay.
Interested.
Was that in the top 8?
Yeah, that got a top 8. That was pretty cool to see. There was also just a straight green black. I'm going to say green black mid range. It did have the Undying Grief kind of combo in it, but it was playing like the one drop Stalker and a few others like that. Honestly, the meta game was great, and I think right now even there's a big. Everybody knows that 2-card combo is really prominent and can go in most decks.
Very
but
powerful.
It's modern, right? And
and
we had this at the weekend. We had it on Twitch chat. It never changed Twitch chat. Never changed YouTube comments or whatever it is. Okay, like because everyone's going to say it, but everyone will call for bans. Everyone will be moaning about it, right? Everybody wants everything banned until their favorite deck is the best deck in the format. That is just something in our DNA apparently that we're going to moan about.
So basically, we had this thing with the Legacy and Riskaminator. It's like the format needs to adapt to.
That's exactly it.
Let the format adapt because the answers are there with Modern. The answers are there with Legacy. The answers are there. And like 3 months ago, Legacy. I spoke with this on the last pod. It was an initiative meta, and everyone was like ban initiative. But now it's like, what's initiative? Here's my Atraxa.
Yeah, is that like it's solving the format because the card pool is so big. I guarantee you, any deck can build their deck to beat the best deck, right? Like 99% of the decks, I would say, are probably maybe 95 to be honest. Living really gonna have a hard time now, but you know, there's a lot of decks can really you can tailor your deck to not lose to a certain type of deck. The problem is you're going to make your deck weaker against other types of deck, and then that's where the good decks will just start filtering through towards the end. But it's also knowing your role in those matchups. Am I the control player in this matchup? Am I the aggro player in this matchup? Am I the mid range?
Yeah.
And knowing how to sideboard and adapt to that, I think, is key and pretty huge.
And that's why like being a great tempo player is, if you're a good tempo player, that's sort of when your mentality of like what is my role in, as you said, in this matchup, and at what point am I now right? I've set up a status in this game where I am now the aggressor and I'm going to win this game now.
Knowing when to turn the corner is also huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, these are things that you don't learn overnight. You can't get from a cyborg guide. You can only get it from putting hours into the game. Is it like 10,000 hours to be an expert at something?
I think
that happens.
Yeah.
That's in Magic as well, right? But it's not just, you don't have to play 10,000 hours. But luckily we live in this beautiful world, this digital era. You can consume that 10,000 hours through YouTube videos. You can do it through streams. You can do it through reading articles, and you can do it from playing. There's so many different ways to do that now, where back in the day it wasn't. And I would almost argue that people now don't solve metas as quickly, even though we've got this streaming, like so many streamers like Spy and Spike, etc., that literally build the metas week in week and drag it from different angles. And the meta changes so much, but in paper, everybody's got every card to be able to 1 week turn out one thing and the next week turn out another thing.
Yeah.
Where SCG, because it used to be weekly content, the meta literally would change weekly. And there was you could always see people come in with different decks and brewing and the meta evolving, where now everybody just goes online, finds the 5.0 deck list or whatever, meta game, was it net deck? They net deck.
Deck.
And then they start moaning that the meta's stale or whatever like that, where it's just, everybody wants to win, so they don't get do that brewing.
Very few innovations happening. Like being an innovator in Magic is like,
it's one of the best skills to have, but it's so hard to have.
Very hard. It's very. That's why you got to look at, like, you can name like a few innovators on the hand. Like you've got Aspiring Spike. You've got what's that? Is it Drayden 7 or Summit 7? The zoo player. He's always pushing out mental lists, and it's these sort of people you should be following and should be looking at. Because if you don't follow, because I always said the best place for Magic content is Twitter and Discord. Like Twitter and Discord is like the gateway to Magic. If you want to be ahead of the game, you need to be on those two platforms, because they're the ideas where what about this card, and you look at it and you're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like when that huge change to Amulet Titan happened, when they started adding Mirror Pool from nowhere. Like, why? Who? And, well, it was Twitter and Discord. It was all over.
In my opinion, the best deck in Modern is Amulet by a country mile.
I don't see how Amulet didn't get, like, that deck is egregious. I hate that deck.
I hate the deck so much.
Like, why is that deck being allowed? Like,
well, because there's cards that are printed that are always got more of a spotlight on it. Like, so.
Yeah. It's because not many people play it. Not many people play it.
So let's go back to like Ragavan era before Bowmasters, right? Like Ragavan was running wild. It is a 1-drop with 1 toughness, and we were all like, "Oh my god, it's so powerful, so powerful!" Blah 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 blah. Okay,
Dies the lava dart.
Literally dies to lava dart. It's a very good, powerful
Dies to
card.
gut shot.
That card there had all the eyes on it, which took the eyes off, the Amulet Tone deck. Even though the Amulet Tone deck was doing really well, the problem with Amulet, in my opinion, is there's not enough good players play it.
Yeah.
Like, or not, no, that's not like not enough masters play it. Like, to master that deck perfectly, I think would be instant ban. If top 100 players picked it up and mastered it, they would only be losing mirrors to themselves, and they'd be schooling everybody else.
Yeah.
Right. It's so high level learn, but such high reward. And it takes a lot of time to learn that. And even when you learn it, you still probably make some mistakes. It's very adaptable to the meta.
The thing what I've noticed with the bans, or what my fear is, that the bans are coming from like a popularity thing, not from like an actual gameplay thing. So, for example, in Legacy, people are calling for a ban for Bowmasters. Bowmasters is a brilliant deck card to have in
I love that
Legacy.
card.
It taxes the right things. It doesn't stop you from playing Magic, and it adds this new dynamic to the format that is fresh.
It punishes the blue decks.
Yep, and it doesn't have a BS button. It's like before Fury got banned, right? Everyone was like, "Oh, Rakdos scam, this, and that," because it does have a BS button with grief and all that. But Titan was supposed to be a great matchup, good matchup. But I can name more than a few times where I'm on the play. I go grief turn 1. I do my thing. I take their best cards, but then they go Amulet, Saga. It makes another Amulet, and then I'm dead on turn 2, maybe 3. I just die.
It's very hard
over. There's nothing you can do.
The deck. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna Blood Boon, cool. They can go find Besages now. Off things. Cool. You're gonna use counter magic. Great. They will either start playing Cavern of Souls, or they're gonna beat you to death with Versus Sagas. The top decks tend to be really, really good, because half the decks land, and that's what they want, and the rest are all ways to go find the big creatures. It's a really good deck. I love watching. One of my favorite streamers is Mistaken. He's not a huge streamer. Very good. His music's on point. He has very good music in the stream. Shout out to him. But he pilots the deck so well, and he
navigates.
Thank you. He literally is always trying different builds of it, new cards, different metas. I love watching him as a content creator. And he's just so happy playing it all the time. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this now. Okay, we're gonna do this, and I'm just like, I have no idea what you're doing, but I learned from it, and I think he's really, really cool.
So what would you ban then if you personally could, or change?
Summons Pact.
Could you get rid of that?
Well, I absolutely despise the new ruling on it that they can't miss the pack trigger. Yeah. I hate that. There's a lot of Magic that people don't like, right? Okay, and hate is a strong word, but you're basically saying they can play this extremely powerful card. It's not just Titan, right? If you go back into Neoform as well, Neoform, that was a key part of Neoform. It's only there to be in broken decks.
Yeah,
it's just a 0 mana spell that now doesn't even have a downside, because you can't forget the trigger. As long as you got the mana, you can still draw your card, and you can still probably play a card, and the judge will just rewind it to now you got to play your mana and keep that card in hand. You can't miss that trigger. It's so annoying. I'm not entirely sure on if the rule affects both players as well. If you missed it, I've got to remind you that you've missed your trigger.
So just for clarity, you mean you missed the trigger, you go to your main phase, or you've lost the game?
But yeah, the second you draw a card,
you lose
in
the
old rule.
That's how it was.
The second you draw the cards, you've missed your upkeep. You haven't paid for the pack trigger. You've now lost the game.
Yeah.
Now you cannot do that. You cannot miss your pack trigger.
As long as you have the mana to pay for it when you realize it, you can pay for it, which I think is ridiculous. Is insane.
They will rewind to that point, but they'll get to the bit where they rewind it to the point where you're allowed to pay. They go, okay, pack trigger is now on the stack. Would you like to pay for it? They can still say no and lose the game, but they're not. That doesn't make sense, right? But I hate that you've got this super powerful effect that has now got 0 downside to it. It's 0 mana it's basically here's a free spell to win the game on that turn that you don't have any downside to. I hate that ruling with absolute passion.
And it breaks the consistency of MTGO versus paper, which is not great. Because on MTGO, you can't forget it. It's there. You either pay for it or you lose.
I'm just not a fan of that card. And there's not many cards I would ban like that. Sometimes metas do get crazy, like when we had the original Cascade rule, where will just turn 0 going into 7-mana planeswalkers. Okay, we should probably ban something here.
Yeah.
The Field of the Dead Uro Oko Life. Again, just too many cards in the same colors that benefit
the golden era of Magic.
Do I think Fury needed a ban? No.
No,
and I'm a Yagua
so
player. I don't think Fury needed a ban. I don't think Grief needs a ban either. I think these are just powerful effects that if you can play around them enough, or you can have some. It does suck when you get double Griefed on turn 1 when you haven't done a card though. That does suck. But
I think Modern can handle it. The format's more than powerful enough.
Clearly can.
It's just unfun, I think, and that's I do think a game state being unfun is probably something that needs to be.
So I would say if you want to have fun, go play Commander. Right? You're a competitive player. Okay, tell me any time that you've lost where you've had fun. It's going to be very limited, if not ever. Right? You're a competitive player. And it sucks, and I hate this, and I say this to Commander players. I envy them. I envy how much fun and joy they have when they play Magic, because I don't get that unless I'm winning at Magic. If I lose, I'm a salty little bitch.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is the quote that I love, right? I have a friend who plays Dredge, plays Belcher, plays all these ridiculous whatever decks. But the quote that he said, and it lives in my head rent-free, is Magic is a zero-sum game. I am looking to have all the fun and make sure no one else has any. That's how you win. That's how you play. That's what Magic is. In competitive, at least. That's what happens.
I've had games where I play them like, whoa, that was an awesome game. And I lose, it stings, sure, it is what it is. And I'm like, yeah, cool, handshake. I'm never salty to my opponent. I'm never like, a little bitch in front of them. And I've also, something I've got out of, this is a really cool skill I'm glad I learned, which I don't think it takes a long time for people to learn it. And I think only when you get like pro level, not that I'm a pro, but like pros kind of set, and this is, it's just another game of Magic. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You lose your game, you're like, oh, okay, cool. You don't go back to your mates and go, oh yeah, they top decked this and I could have gotten, and I was one turn up. Nobody cares about how you lost that game. Nobody. No one really cares how you won that game unless it's the finals. You go back to your group of mates, they'll listen to you because they're your mates, but they don't care. They're not going to remember the story.
It's the games that stick with me, and there's only about a handful where I've messed up. Obviously,
that's the ones that tell me. I'm angry at myself.
So I said an example. There was an Axion last year, and I played. So I was in the mirror, and I was ahead. Like I was ahead. I'd Commandeer in hand. I was good to go. In my turn, upkeep, Vault Outburst, and then I cast Commandeer before the trigger went on the stack.
Oh, yeah, you told me that story, man.
And the judge ruled. I was like. It was so obvious what I was trying to do, but the guy was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
I ditched Endurance, evoked Endurance in response to a Living End before the Living End got on the stack.
Oh no!
And they just went, "Yeah, I'm not going to cast Living End now." I went, "For fuck's sake!" I was like, "Why did I do that?" I was like, my head was somewhere else when I was doing it anyway. But it is what it is.
Shout out to everyone who felt called out with with whatever we were just discussing here about.
One thing is like even at that legacy event that I was at the other week, like I messed up because I fetched a basic swamp. I was literally about to win the game, and I had a swamp, and I was like, "Oh, I can't flashback. Get this Uro out the graveyard. I'm now dead."
So the deck, because we spoke about that deck before you played. Yeah. So you ended up winning that tournament. And
I mean, tell everybody how that sequence of events though. Like I didn't start on that deck, did I? When I started speaking to you about Legacy, I think that was my 4th Legacy deck in the space of 3 weeks.
You said to me, "I want to play Legacy." In fact, I was like, "No, don't. You wouldn't like it." And I think you ran a league, and you went.
I went 0-6 in a league. Yeah, I was like, okay. I
was like, don't play that. Bowmaster says no. It's not even Bowmaster's the issue. It's getting Grief scammed, because Grief is pretty much everywhere in Legacy. And with Infect, you need to have as a creature deck needs to have lots of, as creature deck needs lots of creatures on the board. You need lots of spells in your hand. Because you're like triple spell into kill.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think I showed you Scaminator, or you were looking at Scaminator.
It was Death Shadow next.
Death Shadow, yeah, because that's a deck that I really love.
And then we went on to the blue-black Reanimator list.
Yeah.
And then I saw on Twitter this list that did really well, or like an Uro Soul Side pile. And I was like, Josh, look at this deck. It looks pretty sweet. I'm going to play this. And you're like, do it. This looks good. I want to play this as well.
I've actually got it built up right.
And then mine's sat next to me right now. Literally on the desk. It's and it went really, really well. The only game I lost was because of me messing up, not knowing which lands I should be fetching. But
so it's one of those decks where
where's the trophy?
It's got all the where is it?
I don't know. It's behind me somewhere.
It's got all the answers.
That's another trophy. That one? I think that's a trophy.
It's a deck with all the answers that you want in the format. And it has a really good, really efficient sort of card advantage and a really decisive win condition. The problem is, what I found with it is sometimes it felt a little bit watered down, and particularly threat light if you didn't get your aura out, and things like if you fetch wrong or you get wastelanded out, it's really hard to get your aura online. Especially if you like you said, you basic swamp.
Kind of. You got Withering Command, which
Withering Command is a great.
I love that.
I can't believe how good that card is in Legacy, but trash in everything else. Like
it is so good in Legacy. It hits
Bean.
Everything.
It hits Bowmasters.
Yeah.
I managed to get one game I won because I had a 2/2 Orca Mass token. I just gave it +3/+1 for 3 extra damage, and then drained them. It was basically a 5 damage pump spell. I was like, this card just does everything. It's so good. And I kind of played that list very. I don't know if it's optimal or not, but like just the way that like the games ran for me is I just use Withering Command a lot as a mana denial strategy. I just kept getting wastelands back and wastelanding my opponents. I was like, well, I'm playing 2 Stifles, which is like one of my favorite cards ever. I'm like, Stifle, destroy that, Stifle.
It's so hard to attack the deck. I mean, when you get your Oro answered, it's like, where's my big win condition? Where's my big top deck? But the deck has like so many angles of attack, and it almost feels like hard to sideboard against, because unlike the UB piles that's happening now, it's really low on removal. But this deck was like packed full of removal. It's packed full of answers, and also it has that, like I said, that big threat you could work towards, you focus towards, and that's what I like about a deck. I like the deck to have a game plan. Like I'm not a strict control player. Like I couldn't play that sort of deck. I like a deck with this deck does this, but along the way it has this tempo control strategy.
If you're playing against a deck that these removal spells are dead in, then you can just ditch them to grief. Like they're all black, you just ditch them to grief.
Leyline, that's a cool leyline. I'll just ditch my reanimate spell.
Yeah, exactly. Like cool, whatever. It doesn't make just move it across. I liked how I was kind of baiting my opponents to use the swords, and I think you were seeing this as well in like the top 8. Is they kept using the swords because they had to deal with Bowmasters. Yeah. They couldn't take this recurring damage from Bowmasters, and that just left it open for me to be able to like reanimate some griefs and even if they just get cool swords my reanimating grief. I don't care. You've only got 4 swords, and as soon as I fight them out, this Uro is running away with the game. You've got no answers to Uro, and
what I do like as well, like because I played a game where they had a leyline of the void out. I end step, cast stress down, untap, played an Oro.
Do you know one thing I never did that I was kind of hoping I was going to do was stifle an Uro. Never did it. I was always too greedy with my stifles.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, fetch land, stifle. And
I would do that. I would do that all day.
That turn where I set that trap in the finals, I think me and you were speaking about it, where like I had Daze, Stifle, Bowmaster or something. I can't remember. It was like a really nice like sequence, and
it was his breakfast, by the way.
Yeah, like they like brainstormed, and I did just the whole sequence just went so well for me and so bad for them, and then they were brainstorm locked, and they just had all these dead cards on top, and I'm just like drawing gas after gas and turning it sideways. And
did you hardcast Lorien Revealed in that game as well?
In the final, no, in the semis I did, against the. So actually, me and you spoke about that quite a lot. I'm still not sure if I was meant to fetch the blue source. I went for the win and whiffed basically, and I got in a world of trouble where. And I won this board, by the way. It's I should have took a picture of it. I could probably get a screenshot. There's a Layla on the battlefield with 4 Dracos on the battlefield. My opponent just cast 1, then drew into the next 3, and had enough mana off the Carpet of Flowers to cast all 3 of them. And that's the turn I went, okay, because I had to leave double land Lorien's Revealed on top. I can draw the fetch land, draw the Lorien's Revealed for turn, crack away the fetch, draw 3 cards. As long as one of them's a reanimate or a Bowmaster, I win the game. Yeah. And luckily I got a Bowmaster and was able to get. If not, I was going to a game 3. But
I saw that. I was like, it's mental.
It was so cool.
That sort of stuff. I feel like Modern's having that sort of drama that Legacy has, and that's why I really enjoy Modern.
I'm itching to play Legacy again. By the way,
well,
I'm gonna play at Axion.
Yeah, well, they've got it on Sunday and the Monday in Stockton.
Must be nice. A bit far for me, but I think they're doing it.
About time to come this way.
Yeah, well, I think I'm going to come up to the event up there anyway, and I think I'll do that. I really want to qualify for this Mega Modern thing, so either by the leaderboard or by top 8ing, however I get it done, I'm going to try and do that because realistically, that's my only way of ever getting to the Pro Tour because I cast all the RCs at the minute. So,
yeah.
Like I've never me getting to the Pro Tour is I'm trying to literally do it on hard mode. I don't want to do the Pro Tour as a player. I want to do it as a caster, and. There's only 7 slots, so it's really, really hard to get in there. And I'm not American, which is the biggest thing that restricts me. Like it costs more to fly me from Europe to an American event than just get America. So it's a complete uphill battle for me. Have my fingers crossed for Amsterdam, but I don't think I'll get Amsterdam. I would think I would have heard about it by now if I was.
And I assume you're going to be at the upcoming RC in Naples.
Yeah, I'm casting Naples. That's the last Legacy event, and I'll be doing that one. I've got Bologna next month to do the LMS, and then the following month is Naples. I'm going to be doing that one. What else have I got coming out? Amsterdam. I've got Pisa for Porpageddon. I'm also traveling for that one.
Hopefully,
if no one's been to the Porpageddon events by Boosh MTG, you need to go to them. They are that's one of my favorite TOs.
There's a couple of lads in where we live. They run the podcast Casting Commons, and they're like massive into Pauper. Like Pauper's fairly big. Were in my play group.
Yeah,
and I think they.
Well, they just had one this weekend. 700 players playing in Italy.
Yeah,
mental. You know what I mean? 700 for Pauper.
Nice. That's so nice.
Mental.
Hopefully, you'll get Jack and Lucas on camera. Now, when they come over to Naples, hopefully they're good enough to get on there.
The best ways to get a feature match is 1, either get paired against a big name.
Yep.
2, have a really interesting deck, and 3, be winning. Right? Like you can't pick decks on that have got a losing record.
Yep.
No one cares.
No one cares. No one cares.
Has to be a winning record. If it's interesting and spicy and off meta, the chances of you getting the first couple of rounds is really, really high because statistics show that your deck's probably not going to do as well later the tournament goes, so we won't be able to get you on. So we try and get the spicier ones on in the earlier rounds, and then by the time you get to the end of the rounds, the end of the tournament, you've probably just got a lot of meta decks. Luckily, I say that LMS Prague literally had, let's say, 8 different decks. So it's pretty cool. And the other, I don't really pick them. Some casters in the past, I'm not going to name names, do pick their friends.
Yeah. That's not about that.
I'm not like, as much as I want to pick my friends, and I don't do that. I tend to leave that to the person I'm casting with. I'm like, and I normally cast with like some of the bigger names, so I'm like, look, you can pick the feature matches because that's the other side of the coin. Is I'm the host, play by play. It doesn't matter what's in front of me; I can do the job. But if I have an expert, their job is to know the deck, and if we pick Lotus Blood Moon combo, if they have no idea how that works, they're not going to look smart, and they're not going to look good on camera.
Yeah, the color commentator. Yep.
So they need to, in my opinion, they need to pick the feature match. If they pick their mate, it's what it is. When they start picking their mate continuously, that's when it can be a problem. But everybody's professional, so
you make me want to get into casting. Will, it sounds like an amazing time. It sounds so fun, so interesting.
Because I never planned to be a caster, and it was never on my intentions to ever want to be one. I think I just stumbled into it and fucking found a passion for it. I just love it. Like it's so cool. I'm actually trying to now see if I can get into Locana casting as well.
Ooh,
and just like it's another TCG. It's another game that's
Are you saying we're soon gonna have
this TCG?
Oh, Star Wars, yeah.
So I don't have enough time for second TCG. That's the problem. But if I can cast on one, I can dedicate the time to learn. I know how to play Locana. I've played it in paper. I literally own all the expensive the enchanted cards.
All I'm hearing is that we're soon gonna have Will Hull on stream singing, belting out some Disney tunes. That's what I'm hearing here.
This time next week, I'm actually going to be in Disneyland in Orlando, so maybe I'll go there and I'll kind of put some videos on Twitter of me singing Hakuna Matata or something.
So just before we sort of start wrapping it up, if you take a deck now to a modern tournament, Will, what would you be taking?
Probably either Yawgmoth is my safe bet, but if I did a bit of testing, there's a chance I'd probably go some sort of the blue leyline Draco list. I think that's just
blue domain
suits my play style quite well.
That's what I'd pick.
Yeah. Blue domain. Yeah, that's what I think as well.
But then you could also just play Yawgmoth and have 4 picky poisons, and you just literally destroy that deck.
Yeah.
So,
I've been playing a lot of that lately as well.
For some reason, Merktaz puts up a bit numbers, and I've got that deck available, but I just don't see how it's doing as well as it's doing.
I don't think it's great in a pick your poison meta.
Yeah.
While everybody's playing pick your poison, like that's like all your main threats are just gone for 1 mana.
Yeah.
And it's pretty bad. I wish I could keep playing Martyr. That deck was really, really cool. Obviously, I got too many draws of it, which really annoyed me. But the deck was a great metagame cool when Rhinos was a popular deck. Like that meta, it was so good for. But
one of our guys picked it up, George down south. He loves it. He loves that Martyr deck.
It's awesome. It really, really is cool. I don't think it's good right now. Like now, I think it's going to be it's probably going to get run over quite quickly. But it does have a couple of sweeper effects, so it could deal with Dracos. But then if they're playing counter magic,
some of the new there's a new card coming out actually. I don't know if you saw the instant speed sweeper effect.
God no, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, it's a single white, and then it has spree, and the spree are 3 different modes. The first mode is a generic for give a creature indestructible. I think it is.
So
other mode is generic for
all creatures lose abilities.
Yeah, all abilities. Yeah, dress down essentially.
Yeah.
So
and then the last one,
this mechanic, because the last one's a wrath, right? But it can be done at instant speed, I imagine.
So
I don't understand how it works. If the card is 1 mana and it says 1 mana plus 1, does that mean it's actually a 2 mana spell?
So it's almost like Kicker. It's CMC is 1 mana, and it is always 1 mana. But you have to pick one of the extra effects. You can't just cast it for 1 mana, and you have to pick at least one of the other effects. That's how it works.
So if you had enough mana, you could do all of them.
Exactly. Yeah. You could do all of them.
But you can't cast it for say like 1 mana.
It's like Kicker and Escalate together, essentially.
Okay, it's also quite a good way of getting around cheating spells into play as well, I guess. Like you can't cascade into this 1 mana spell and then cast all of the 3 options because you can't do that with Kicker.
Yeah,
that's cool. What's the other mechanic I saw that got recently?
Plot.
Because obviously there's a loads of spoilers about plot.
Yeah.
I quite like plot.
I mean, I'm excited to cast my 2 mana Jace on turn 4, exile an Ancestral Visions, and then next turn draw 3 cards off of it for free. That sounds amazing.
So I think plot is going to be a really big brain mechanic. Like you're going to think like a chess player. Like you have to think 3 or 4 turns ahead.
It also depends on what cards are printed with plot, right? Like that's the other kicker is the mechanic might be awesome. It might not be broken. It might be broken in like 10 sets time or something if they ever come back to it.
Because I definitely think
set up a really big storm term as well. Like you say
you could
in Legacy, or you could set up a turn a
bunch of 0 mana things. I definitely think Jace is the good card. I definitely think that Jace is going to see something busted with plot. There's just no way that giving something free cast in the future isn't going to bust it. You could do it with balance. You can do it with Ancestral Vision, Rhinos, Living End. There's so many ways to use that Planeswalker that I think there is something there.
The problem is the thing that I kind of read off that obviously Jace being 2 mana is just like, what? We see how good Red and 6 can be.
2 mana Planeswalker.
I'm seeing it's like on turn 4. No, it can't be cast on turn 4, can it?
It can. It can be cast on the first 3 turns, so you can cast it on turn 4.
4, they'll be able to cast that and hold up counter magic.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's scary.
Super.
Like especially in Pioneer, stuff like that, where arguably Blue White's probably one of the better decks currently in Pioneer. Obviously you've got the new Vampire deck, which is kind of I think it was good for that meta. I think moving forward, it will still be a good deck, but it won't be like the back-breaking Pro Tour deck.
Yeah.
And speaking to Seth and that, I don't know if they would also agree with that, but hey, I could just DM him and ask.
Yeah, if people are ready for it, right? It's a lot harder for it to do nearly as well as it did. But everyone's playing Blot Out now to just answer that vampire.
That's what I miss about competitive Magic. Is I remember watching Pro Tour Born of the Gods, my favorite Pro Tour of all time, besides the one I was on, obviously. I was just getting into competitive Magic, and I saw Blood Moon for the first time, and I was like, whoa, this looks cool. They built the whole deck around it. It kind of caught the whole tournament off guard, and they were doing ways of stealing Tarmogoyfs and bouncing things back to then lock their opponents out. And I was just like, this is amazing. Now we don't really get that too much at Pro Tours. There's normally a breakout deck, but it's not like a brood breakout deck. It's just like, okay, this tournament, everyone realized that Scam is the best deck in Modern, so everybody bought it. I did the thing where that one,
like Tron with the Lord of the Rings. I mean, everyone bringing Tron.
Well, that's Team Handshake. Team Handshake, just one of, I think the two top teams are Team Handshake and Team Channel
Fireball. Yeah.
With probably Underworldly Light like in third place, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get into that top 2 bracket moving forward. Like they've got some amazing players, and just how they break it all down. Like I think Sean Goodard's in that team. Who, in my opinion, is the best UK player. Like he's just phenomenal. The amount of results he's put up in the last like 18 months or so. And it's not like he's just running away with that, by the way. We've also got like Sam. Sam's doing amazing. Sam Ralph. It's just been, I think he's just won and just qualified for the mocks yet again last weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've got a really, really high level of talent of Magic players in the UK.
Yeah.
Ben Jones does a huge job. He's always doing well in English events and in European events. Shout out to Ben. Again, I've known Ben since he was like 12 or something. I was playing against him. And now he's like an adult with a girlfriend and a real job. And it's so weird to see for me.
I hate it when that happens.
I'm like, oh.
Hate it as an adult.
Do you know something that devastated me the other day? I think it was Wednesday last week I found this out. So, everyone knows American Pie, right? Everyone here's old enough for American Pie.
I would hope so.
Yeah, Stifler's mum, like she's the hot older lady. Yeah, so in American Pie, she's 38.
Wow.
I'm 38.
What?
Wow.
It devastated me, that fact. I was like, oh my God, I wish
you never said that.
I know.
Why did you say that?
It ruined my
day.
Why did
you say that?
I'm here to ruin your day.
I'm still coasting. I'm still under 30, just barely, but coasting.
I'm 34, mate.
I'm 29.
Like, I'm looking at 40s, like, soon.
Yeah, and I literally turned 38 in January, and then I learned that fact. I was like, oh my God.
I make fun of the girlfriend because she's a year and 9 days older than me. So she's going to be 31 before I'm 30, and she's funny as heck. I call her a cradle snatcher every time I get a chance.
You don't ever forget that. You're like, back in school, this would have been weird. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But yeah, it's that was a fact that kind of ruined my day, and I was like,
oh man,
more people need to know about that, though, in my opinion. You're welcome.
So we quickly go with these last two mechanics.
Two mechanics. Go for it.
Yeah,
we're doing tangents in again.
You know what? That's great.
It's fun.
When we said this podcast, I have Will on. I don't want it to be like an interview. Let's just have a crack. You know what I mean? Let's just chat and see where it goes.
You can't shut
but making my editing life hard. I don't know what I'm taking out here. It's all so good. It's all so good.
Just send it all.
Send it all.
Part 1, Part 2. Part 1, Part 2. Easy.
We'll do this as a nice long back.
Yeah,
yeah.
It'd be great for us to be for this as well.
So much.
So you got
maybe.
So we've talked about. Have we talked about plot? We've talked about spree.
Yep.
Right?
We did spree and plot.
There's like saddle now in there.
Saddle. Yeah.
What's saddle?
So it's a mixture of vehicles and enlist. So essentially, is at sorcery speed, you can crew a creature that has saddle. They're all mounts, and
so they're a new creature type.
What happens is the effect of saddle itself doesn't do anything, but the creature will have text that it says if this creature is saddled or something along those lines, when you attack or when it dies or when this happens, something else will happen. That's what saddle does. So
it's like crew with an upside.
It's crew with an upside, but for a creature instead of a vehicle. And sorcery speed only. So you can't do it in response to someone killing your creature or in the at the beginning of combat. You have to do it in main phase 1 or before you attack.
The example is a card called Trained Arynx. I think that's how you say that name.
Yeah.
So whenever Trained Arynx attacks while saddled, it gains first strike until the turn and scry 1.
I think the new Gitrog monster has it as well.
I saw that. Like the Gitrog's Valley or something.
Yeah, let me just get it up here. Let me see. The new Gitrog has the ability Saddle. And what exactly does he do? There it is. So he has Saddle 1, which is the numbers equal to the power that the creature must have at least to crew it or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's whenever the Gitrog Ravenous Ride deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a creature that saddled it this turn. If you do, draw X cards, then put up to X land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, where X is the sacrificed creature's power. Yeah, so they all have effects like this. It sounds like a draft or limited mechanic to me.
Yeah, to me it is. Well, I don't see this thing making any dents really.
But I think there's some cards that are like, especially if this creature is saddled when it dies, it like brings them back or it blinks them or something like that. So maybe there'll be some cards that are standard playable, but I don't see it going further than that.
I did see that Mana Drain and Oko are going to be draft legal, so I can't wait to get my app.
I don't even know what's going on with this, because you look at like set symbols. There's like 1, 2, 5 set symbols.
I think there's 5 different set symbols,
and not everything's played. It's like you can open a pack and you can't play everything in standard.
Money. That's what it is. It makes more money. Yeah. Why are we getting a commander deck thing for that? You can't use the cards in modern for a modern set.
Yeah, there's 5 different set symbols for this set, which is insane to me.
It's crazy.
Imagine a new player coming to this game.
He's like, wait, why can't I put this Thoughtseize into my standard deck? It's a special guest, or it's an OTP or whatever it's called.
Capitalism, that's why.
It's insane.
And then you've got one more ability. You've got Crime, which is essentially when anything is interacted with.
The single best meme that has come into Magic in a long time. It's just, there's something about committing a crime that is going to be hilarious. You pacify a creature, you're committing a crime, apparently. But if you use what's it called, Shieldred's Edict, where you make an opponent sacrifice because you're not targeting the opponent, it's not committing a crime. That is perfectly fine.
Targeted.
Yeah, like it has to be targeted. Like you have to target a player, a permanent they control, or one of their zones. Essentially, you have to target it. If it's not targeted, it's not a crime.
So there's a land cycle come out, a new cycle of Desert Lands, which basically ETB ping and damage to a target player, and that is just like ETB commit a crime. Might have an impact on Pauper. I'm not too sure, but
that's going to be good with Nathan's player reward card.
Yeah, because that one's about committing crimes and draw discard.
That's going to be cool. I'm interested. I also love, again, Nathan, one of the nicest people you could ever meet in Magic. He's so smart. Clearly, had probably one of the best ones in Magic of all time. Again, so chilled out, so down to earth. I actually messaged him after, I think it was Proto Phyrexial V1, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Just, I think did he win that one? No, Reed won that one. Yeah, he top hated that one after winning the one before it or something like that, and then he won the one after again because he's insane. But I was just like, mate, I'm an old guy compared to you. He's like, what, 19, 17, something like that? He was like really young at the time. I was like, mate, your parents did a good job. I just said to him, like, you're not going to understand this now. You know, you're going to think I'm a weird old guy, but I promise you, your parents have done a good job. Like, you could be an absolute dick up on that stage, winning that trophy, and just being crazy, but you're not. You're literally being like an adult up there and giving respect to your parents and stuff. I was like,
decorum, mate. It's decorum. It's
amazing.
His team handshake as well, you know what I mean? He's very close to Javier, and Javier is the older big brother in that relationship between the two of them. And Javier's been there. Javier's done that. Javier should be Hall of Fame, in my opinion. It's absolute catastrophe that he's not in the Hall of Fame. But the Hall of Fame isn't a thing anymore. But if they ever bring it back, which I hope they do.
I really hope they do.
I've kind of I bear mind. So speaking, shout out to Anu, by the way, obviously one of my partner in so many things when it comes to Magic. Probably one of the hardest working people in Magic in general.
I love his content.
he's such a cool guy. Like he's always working, he's always thinking. But me and him think on two different levels. Like I'll think of the heads on the coin, he thinks of the tails of the coin. So we work really well in tangent. Like what he's bad at, I'm good at. What I'm bad at, he's good at. So we work so well together with it. But I can't remember where I was going with that. Shout out to him here. What was it? I can't remember what we're talking about. I missed it. Josh spoke again and threw me off. What was I saying?
You're just looking at me and thought, God,
you were talking about Anu and
so much more handsome than me.
How hardworking they are.
Shout out hard work. But what got me onto that? Why was I speaking about Anu? Right, Nathan, Anu, Javier. Yeah. Okay, right. Okay. There was method to my madness here, right? So basically, we both always have stupid ideas.
Right.
Like, wouldn't it be great to put on a timeless creator clash with 6 days' notice while we're both really busy? We still managed to do it, but things like this, we always do it. And some of the things I want to come back, I told you about. I want to try and get Cedric and Patrick back together in the booth. That's one of my goals doing it. I don't know how we'll do it, but I feel like we've both got the contacts to do it. I don't know how sponsorships, blah, blah, blah. I would really love to put on like a fan run Hall of Fame. Like,
that sounds like a great project.
If they're gonna hold the World Championships in Vegas every year, why can't we just book a hall somewhere, have like, I don't know, burgers and chips, just delivered at everybody at the table, everybody dressed up in like suits or whatever, but everybody's on their little tables, 12, just 12 burgers and a
like
pile of chips turned up. Yeah, we just well, that's what the Hall of Fame used to be. It literally used to be like an Oscars, and people go up and have speeches, and you have different awards, and obviously the last award of the night is the Hall of Fame. How we go about we vote to see who does that. Do we do a backlog of who should be in it? I don't know any of it. I would love to do it. I think
that sounds amazing.
We'll end up bringing it back at some point because obviously we can't do it. But I would love to just have like a fan run award show where we appreciate everybody in Magic that's done really well throughout the year. Like the best, the newest streamer, the best content, the best award winner, the best win streak, blah blah. And then the big prize of the night is, and the Hall of Famer inductee is.
And for your first one, we can have Josh on stage, and you can go up and slap him, cause a nice drama.
I was just gonna have the trophy, like like the Oscar of Josh. Like just Josh, rigid.
Man, do I have a perfect picture if you ever end up making Josh the trophy?
Obviously naked. Why would I do it not naked? That's pretty weird. But something like that, I think it would be cool. I think I would know enough sponsors to be able to get enough sponsorship for it. I think I would know enough people to try and put it on. Obviously, it would be broadcast, and I don't know. It's one of those crazy ideas that I have so many.
That sounds so fun. That sounds amazing. Sounds ridiculously amazing.
It'd be one of those big ones.
You'd have to have, like, if you got all the people that you knew as well, then the credibility would come with it as well.
I wish we could run one in the UK, but it's so much harder to do it here than the States.
UK Magic is really hard. Like,
yeah, we don't get nowhere near as much love as we should, but I think that's down to the percentage, right? If you look at the global sales of Magic cards in the world, the US takes up the biggest chunk, and so they get the biggest slice of every pie.
Yeah.
And then now we're not in Europe. Now it's Europe gets like the next biggest. And then in Europe, obviously they've got to distribute that between all the different countries. Yeah. I think Italy's probably the biggest one out of all of them. That gets the biggest
Italy,
slice.
then France maybe after that.
Yeah, maybe France after that. Portugal's got to be up there as well, I'd say.
Germany's decently high.
Germany's kind of fucked.
The Italians are sick at Magic as well.
Italy's the most passionate place I've ever been for Magic. Like they genuinely love it. Germany's fucked because they can't have
cash prizes
tournaments there
as well. Yeah,
so they're kind of fucked. Even though there's a lot of really good German players, and they love.
Why can't they have tournaments? There's something to do in
the law. Yeah, it's a gambling thing.
Yeah.
There's a really famous GP where it was meant to be a cash prize, but they couldn't do. But literally people playing in it, and they changed the prizes, so they basically just went out and bought people like TVs and Xboxes to the equivalent of that price. So like if you won 10 grand, they went and bought you 10 grand's worth of electronics, because that was the only way they could get around it. I think Martin User might have won that one actually, because he spins that dick quite a lot.
Yeah, because we have a teammate who lives in Germany now, Marco, and he was telling us about the tournament scene, and like he went to a decently big tournament they hold all the time. He did well. And his prize had to be like 4 Yawgmoths because he couldn't. They can't do cash prizing, which is like Weird, but that's the way they do it. You know, and they literally made people pick. Here's the wall of prizes. Here's the random bits that we selected. Pick one, and then go down. Pick one. Go down. Pick one.
Don't get me wrong. I've got a newfound respect for TOs, and I think that they do some amazing jobs, especially like they do it on a shoestring budget half the time. But then going back to like the UK, we're a big market. Yeah, we've got a big name behind us and all, but the only way that UK Magic is getting pushed forward, like in a direction towards Wizards, is through Axiom.
Yeah,
right? That's why
100%.
I've said numerous times how much I'm not an EDH player. It's a casual format. It's not for me. I understand it's the biggest format in Magic. Yada yada. I will still go to Commander Fest because that supports Axiom.
Yeah,
I will travel to every Axiom event I possibly can. I will support and give them my time to them and give them advice on content creating this, that, and the other. Because if there is no Axiom, there is no competitive UK scene.
Yeah,
there is no end goal of getting on the Pro Tour. I think everybody, if you're a Commander player or if you're a competitive player in whatever format, you should go to as many of these events as possible. You should buy your cards through Axiom now. Like all these things add up. And we all know Francois is one of the best TOs, if not the best TO in Europe. He's a player. He knows what we what we want prize wise, and they'll put on cash prizes, top heavy prizes, whatever it is. Like you always know you go to an Axiom event, you're going to get good. If you do well, you're going to get a good return.
I want to try and get Francois on here as well. He's a great personality, amazing guy. I've talked to him 1,000. He's a fantastic person. Fantastic.
He's
guy.
Awesome. He's that legacy event in Wales that I won. That's got nothing to do with Axiom. He just turned up. He was just there. He was just there talking to the players.
I remember when I can't remember which event was coming up for Axiom, but they were really trying to push it. Francois was doing like the UK tour everywhere. He just showed up randomly at our LGS. It was amazing. What a guy!
I love this initiative they're doing now where they're going around the country. I think it's brilliant.
It's amazing.
So they're trying something new with this. Basically, it's to give everybody in like the four corners of the UK a shot, because all you need to do is top 8. If you top 8, you get an invite to the end of the year event. But what they're adding to it now is every match point you get in that one of these 4 tournaments goes on a leaderboard.
Yep.
So like the last Axiom, I went 4 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws. So that's 14 points. I now have 14 points on the overall leaderboard. And then if I go to the next event and I get the same, I go up to 28 points. I go to the next one. Even if I'm 0-3 and dead for top 8, I'm still going to play every single round because every single round is 3 points on the leaderboard.
Yeah, I like that. I like the excuse to continue on.
Yeah, and Jack was telling about this.
If you're the top 8 players at the end of the season, you get the last 8 slots to the end of year event, which has got the winner will get a Pro Tour slot. It'll be 3 rounds of draft, followed by 5 rounds of modern. I don't know if it's 2 days or 1 day. I can't remember
2 days.
How they're going to work.
I think it's 2. Yeah, I think it's 2.
So maybe it's the same thing they're going to do. And if you top 8, sweet, you obviously get loads of prizes or throughout whatever. But if you win the whole thing, you get a direct invite to the Pro Tour.
Amazing, amazing! What a dream!
Really
it really rewards the grinders and the people. And I said, hard work pays off. You know what I mean? If you're willing to go to all these different events, which don't get me wrong, is a luxury, being able to get the time off work, have the money to travel, stay in hotels, pay for entry.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
But if you're willing to put that time and money into it, then you sort of...
You've earned it.
I don't want to say deserve it, but you've earned it.
Well, you give yourself the best shot. But I see it differently. I'm going to these events because I want to support Axiom.
Yeah.
I want them to keep going, and I want them to thrive, and I want to put in the biggest events possible. Just for the players, right? I want everybody to play competitive Magic at whatever level. If that's CEDH, if that's standard, if it's pauper, if it's legacy, if it's vintage, pre-modern, whatever it is. I just want as many people as possible playing Magic.
Whenever I get time off work, I always book the Axiom events. It's one of the main events I want to go to.
I never have had time.
I've
never. You know what I mean?
Even if they're like not so well, I'm like, that was such a great day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mean they got the rebound events? Okay, I'm done that one. Cool, I'll go play the rebound event for goodies. Now that is different for this. This is really getting the grinders out there. Like the people will drop after round 3 and they'll just go play in that because they'll get better prices. Where I've got that mentality. I'm playing for the leaderboard. That's my prize. I will play if I'm 0-3. I am still playing all 7, 8 rounds because I want all those points. It doesn't matter to me, and that's what SCG used to do.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And you see at the end of the season, and the only thing Axiom are missing, and I've said this to him numerous times, and I'm trying to prove them wrong now with my backpack streams, is they need to stream those events. They need to scratch everybody's ego. They need
it's
to
funny
show
you
off
say
what
that.
they are
It's
doing.
funny you say that because I know of our other side, Chad Magic with Christian and Wally, they're talking to them about that as well, trying to, even if it's not the main event that we can do right away, even start small. Let us stream something from the event. It grows into something bigger, and it shows people what's going on at Axion. And those holdouts are like, I don't know, maybe next time I'll go. They see this on camera. It's going to make them want to go. It's going to be amazing for them. It's 100% one of the best things they can do.
People will do it for free for them. Like, people will do it.
Yep.
The fact that they've done it, and it's no cost to them.
Yep.
I don't know why they haven't.
It's a little bit of like, there's a lot more behind it than what you're kind of making up. But yes, there is a cost. They have to book the venues. Now, if they book venues, they have to make sure they have good working internet. They need to make sure that there's access points to power. They need to make sure that there's different extra things that go on to each venue. I was really like the one they had in London. The internet was amazing. And I'm going to continue backpacking streaming because they gave me a special link because I was like, look, I will prove to you that you will get sales that you wouldn't otherwise get. You'll get eyes on your site that you wouldn't otherwise get from streaming, right? And the prizes are good enough that people outside of Europe will fly to your events in the UK.
Yeah.
So out of that one stream that I didn't advertise, and it was on my own stream, not an Axion stream, it's just literally on my stream on Twitch, I think we got something like 120 unique views, as in different people clicking on that link, and they had a couple of sales for the next event through that link.
That's amazing.
There's no kickback for me. There's no discount on the event. It was just from generic sales, and we didn't advertise it at all. Maybe I tweeted on the day, but that was it. I was like, imagine what you could do with actually if you put this on the end of every single email. We have now got a Twitch channel. Click here, and then on the flip side of it is, what if I tell everybody, you two now, if you go to the next Axion event and you're doing well, you might get a feature match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a dream.
Everybody wants to scratch that ego. It's huge. We're all egomaniacs, and I keep going on about it, but it's so true. It's unreal. And that's what I say about it. I'm trying though. I'm trying the good fight. I'm trying to get Axion to stream their events.
I'll support you on that fight for sure. Sounds amazing.
Just keep telling them every time you see Francois or Norman or Liz, or Alex, just be like, why are we not streaming this event? Where's the stream? Where's the stream? Is the top 8 going to be streamed? Keep saying the word stream to him, and eventually it will sink in.
So one of the things I'm going to be discussing with my play group this week is we've got quite a new set of people coming from Commander into 1v1 formats, and one of the issues they have is they now have to face a clock, and that means because they're on this 1v1 sort of competitive gameplay now, and they're not chilling with the friends with a beer playing your 7-mana rares. They'll have a land in hand and some stuff on the battlefield, and they'll just be like, "What do I do?" And it's all little tips and tricks you can do. For example, if you are dead and it's game 1, just concede. Even if it's if they pass a turn, they're going to kill me. Just concede straight away, and give yourself more time for games 2 and games 3.
There is ups and downs to that. Reed Duke comes to mind of it. Reed Duke will not concede early. Reed Duke will make you kill him. They'll keep that hand in hand, and when so you are now thinking, oh, they haven't conceded. That means that card in hand could be a set of the wreckage, or
that could be anything.
It makes them think of it. So it's again different skill to learn. But you're gonna always have solo players coming from Commander to this because they're also nervous. They've never played for prizes. They've never played for the this win-lose mentality where things are actually on the line. But it's a skill you need to understand the clock a lot better. It's not an online game where both of your clocks are individual. This is a joint clock.
On MTGO, it's your clock. You can if you want to use your clock how you want, and crack on.
It's almost a different game, MTGO, because you can use the clocks to your advantage in that. You can't when you're in a paper tournament because you both got the same clock. If I take 35 minutes of our game up and you only take 15, we both get the draw. It's not penalized. You need to pressure your opponent almost, and it sounds like you're being a dick to them, where you ask them to be, look, can you play a bit quicker? I don't think we're going to finish the 3 games in this time. Especially if they got one card in hand, and you're like, you can either play it now or you can wait to play it later. Either way, I need you to make a decision. You know what I mean? You can't play it as aggressive that, but you can be like, I need you to make a play, otherwise I'm going to call a judge. And if they don't do it, you're like, judge, I think my opponent's playing slow. And then a judge will sit down at your table or stand behind and watch. And if there is a slow play, then they'll get the warning. And if they get too many, they'll end up losing the game. If it's too many slow play warnings, you'll get 7 extra turns instead of the actual 5 extra turns you get. and the judge will determine if it's slow play or not, which is the big one. It's nice to have someone outside it, because then they also hold you responsible.
Yeah,
it's not just because you called the judge doesn't mean that you're playing fast. But and sometimes there's complicated board states, and you do have to take it up extra time.
Because
there's that pressure.
Sorry, you take it away, Josh. Take it away.
There's that pressure on a person as well to like. Oh, I don't want to call a judge. I don't want to say play fast. I don't want to.
Horrible stigma we have in the game for that, where we should saying judge is not a bad word. It's encouraged at events. Like sometimes you don't know what interactions are, you need to ask a judge. Sometimes you don't know what the card says, you need to ask a judge, because it could be in a foreign language, especially in Europe. You know what I mean? And it's calling a judge because you don't know a question. Why would you not ask it? If your opponent's playing slow, why would you not call a judge to say they're going slow? You can be the politely. You can go, I need you to play faster, please. If they don't, you can be like, judge, I don't feel like my opponent's playing faster. And my judge will go, okay, sure. And they'll stand there and they'll watch. And the judge is also going to be a Magic player. They're going to understand what a complicated board state is to just playing the second land drop for the turn. And if they take 2 minutes to play the second land drop for the turn, the judge is going to go, you need you to make a decision. If it's complicated, they're probably going to give him an extra like 2 minutes max anyway. You'd be like, we've got 15 minutes left to play 2 games. I need you to play quicker.
Ask for the time extension.
Some players that I don't know if you can ask for time extensions unless you've been checked or a judge call.
Says no, right?
Yeah, it depends, because I mean, in the rules of Magic, right, it literally states there is no actual minimum or maximum time when it comes to a turn. It's all dependent. It isn't like 30 seconds have passed. It's slow time, or slow play. So calling a judge is the best thing you can do in these situations, because it's all contextual. Everything that's happening is contextual, and it's better to do it sometime that it makes sense, early on, than wait until the last 5 minutes when you should have called the judge earlier, but now it's too late. Now you're not going to get that time back, and now you're likely going to go to a draw. So do yourself a favor, call a judge, help yourself. It's not only for you, it's also for the other player, so you can both play a proper game of Magic. Make sure you get everything out of it, because no one's playing to go to a draw. That's not fun. No. That's boring Magic. You want to see the result of the 3 games that you're meant to play. And that's what you want to happen. If that's what you're looking for, if you're trying to be competitive, if you're trying to play well, learn the skill of calling a judge. It's not a bad thing. It will never be a bad thing. This is exactly what you're meant to do. It's within the rules of the game. You're not, you're not cheating anything here.
Exactly, yeah. And competitively as well, it helps if you actually know your deck as well. Like if you pick a deck, say for example Legacy, you pick Doomsday for example, and you don't know your Doomsday powers beforehand, and you take more than a minute to make your Doomsday pile, you should call a judge, because it's that choice they've made to bring that deck. You should know that. You should know the lines. You should know what your deck does to give you the best chances to make efficient plays, timely plays, and ultimately win that game of Magic.
Well, there's a reason why you normally give newer players like mono red and stuff, right? Like it does what it says on the tin. It can be a hard deck to play. It can be a complicated deck at times, but generically it is tap 1 mana, do some damage, tap more mana, do some more damage. And while they do that, they can learn against their opponents the other interactions that happen in modern, and they can start growing as a player, potentially picking up different decks. Especially, I imagine coming from Commander to this, to modern, let's say, is that's a whole different level moving forward. But
I always say like Commander should be the secondary format you should play. You should play 1v1 first. It's a shame that we talked about Standard in our last pod, but it's a shame that Standard isn't the de facto format to come into, because you learn those key Magic skills, I think, and then you appreciate Commander for what it is. And then you can have you'll experience the game. Well, not as a attendant, but you can experience more of the game, so the game is more accessible to you. Because there's some Commander players who won't touch 1v1 because it's like the scary or weird competitive format that has sideboards and you do things at different speeds and stuff. But
remember, it's kitchen table Magic EDH at the end of the day, right? Everybody is playing it for fun, and some people don't find the stress of playing competitive fun. I'm going to go out limb and say, as for we do. I enjoy beating my opponent. Yeah. Like that to me is fun. Losing to my opponent sucks, but it happens. It just means I'm going to learn it. I learn for it. And this is the other thing is you could play your deck perfectly. Every card, the exact turn you're going to play it to the max value and still lose the game of Magic, right? You can still lose that because it is a game of skill and luck. the skill in Magic the Gathering is reducing the amount of luck involved in that match.
Yeah.
And you can never get rid of all the luck in that matchup. Sometimes you're going to flood out. Sometimes you're going to be landlocked. Sometimes the
mulligan to
spells are not
four.
gonna-
The skill of Magic.
Yeah. It is what it is, and it's the sooner you get it in your head that it's just another game. There's going to be more, and you don't care. You're going to get better at Magic. Like heads up, the more you're willing to make those mistakes, as long as you learn from them, you're golden.
It's the skill of Magic, right? It's learning to make your own luck. You have to be able to create your own luck. That is where the skill comes from, and then know that sometimes it is better to be lucky than good. It's something that's said for a reason.
Yep.
It absolutely rings true in any skill level of Magic. It's better to be lucky than good, but you can get to those later stages where that luck can come into effect by being good. Those early stages of a tournament, those early rounds, being good will get you consistently further. That's what you want to do. That's what you're trying to improve. Those early skills, so you can consistently get to a better spot where that luck can then become a factor. And that's exactly what you want.
It's also like a double-edged weapon. There's a reason why Magic isn't a huge esport, right? It's because there's luck involved.
Yeah.
Where if you look at like the FPSs and Fortnite and COD and that stuff, they're just pure skill. It's just they are just grind. They are pure skill games. Where Magic, yes, there's loads of skill involved, but you could literally say, you unless you read Duke, you can't win them all. You know what I mean? Like, you can play it to a super high level and be very consistent with it, but you're still going to lose games just because you had no chance.
It's a card game, right? It's a card game. Mm-hmm. Luck is innately involved in the game. I think if I'm not incorrect, the statistic is even the absolute best players, realistically, can only have about a 70% win rate unless they're cheating.
Makes sense.
Because the luck is built into what cards are you drawing off the top of your deck. That is part of the game. And the sooner you learn to accept that and just be easy with it, the better. You don't have to, get salty because your opponent top decked everything and you just drew lands. It happens. It's part of the game.
I was playing a league the other night with a Riscaminate, and I griefed them, and I was like, right, I've took all interaction from them. All I need to do is untap and play my Animate Dead. And the top of the deck was Force of Will. So I went to Animate Dead, Force of Will, and they stabilized. I was like, fair one.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Nothing for you. That's it. Game over.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's fun. Everyone should play competitive Magic, in my opinion, but I am fully aware that it's not for everybody. People enjoy fun formats, and so you should. Why not? Magic is but as long as the gathering part, that's for me. Like you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what format you play. As long as you're good at the gathering part and you're nice and respectful to everybody when you meet them, and you just have fun and you build friends and friendships from it and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, look, I mean, we're friends, right? We'll go to Nando's together.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Cheeky Nando's with Will. Oh boy.
Any Axion and Will's at, there's a Nando's gathering at some point. I think the record is 21 people I've had at Nando's at once. Shout out to Nando's.
And to any Commander players listening, when we say competitive Magic, we don't mean RCQs and tournaments only. We even mean FNM. Go to FNM. It's not super competitive, but it is still competitive Magic to some degree.
It's Magic with the stake.
And you'll learn a lot. You'll love it. Trust me, give it a chance, and it'll be a lot better than you think. And everywhere I've ever gone, the crowd of people are very friendly. No one's gonna go, "Oh, you don't know what you're doing. Get out of my get out of my FNM." No one does that. No one does that.
I don't think I've ever been in a real bad place like that. I don't think I have.
I've had some really salty players at FNM level, but very few in fact.
You always get salty players, but then that just
you'll find them in EDH as well.
Personalities.
Yeah, you'll find salty players everywhere, but when it comes down to it, the overall crowd are very accepting, very easygoing. They'll help you out. They'll teach you all kinds of things, and they'll be patient. As long as you make an effort, you'll be completely fine.
Communicate with your opponent. I'm new. I might make mistakes, and usually your opponent will be like, "Don't worry. If you got any questions, let me know."
Yeah. Oh, especially like FNM level stuff, like and winner box type stuff. Like you always get your triads, but in general, get people underneath someone's wing. Go with some of the more experienced players. They'll help you out. I always say go to Axion. Like you don't have to be a super competitive player to enjoy an Axion. You can go play EDH at an Axion event, and then in between rounds go and have a little walk around the tables and see what people are doing. And be like, oh, I don't know what that does. How's that doing? You can ask. I know this. We're going on tangents again, Will. When I used to go to winner boxes, it was standard back then. Back when standard used to be a lot more fun, and I'd play standard. and I'd go O2 drop or whatever, and I'll go play side events of Modern just to learn Modern, because there was no other way of learning Modern back then. And I had Affinity back when Affinity was literally pure robots, and I'd get spanked by someone that knew what they were doing. And I kept like a terrible hand or whatever, but I'd talk to them afterwards, like, hey, how is this going to go? What is my game plan in this matchup? What did I do wrong? Can you tell me? Because I don't know. I'm trying to learn from it, and that's what it is. Just asking questions. No one's ever said no to me. Even now in casting, I'm asking all these great casters, how do you do this? How would you get better at this? How would you approach that? And they've all given me advice on all different levels, from how to cast and how to be cancelled. You know what I mean? There's so many things that like they've all given me huge bits of advice on, and it's always, as long as you're always trying to learn, I think you're always going to improve.
Curious minds always rise. It's a fantastic thing. If you ask questions.
Did you just Google that?
No,
I feel like you just Googled inspirational quotes.
No.
That was the first one that came up.
My hands have not moved. You can check the stream. Check the stream.
You probably got it above your monitor. It's above your monitor, isn't it? Live, love, or whatever.
Exactly. Instead of live, laugh, love, it's curious minds always rise.
I've got live, laugh, suppressing fire on mine there.
So Chad, you are made for this podcast. You are. That's the other thing, by the way. This is just an in-house joke between me and you, Josh. Is like when I hit like Chad magic, Chad, it means something completely different to me and you, and I'm always like, I wonder if they know that. I wonder. It's.
That's when I first heard it. I was like,
it's
because Ellie got invited first on that thing. I was like, Chad, you sure you want to go to this?
Sounds pretty Chad to me, but
Chad. That
it's funny.
Chad is your dad.
In-house jokes. In-house jokes.
And on that, I think Will, cheers for coming on.
Pleasure. Anytime.
And I'll catch you for some wets and some dits when I'm down at CTC.
Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this very long, very tangenty, rambly kind of podcast, longer than our usual ones. But I think with such an honored guest, it's quite a nice thing to do.
Thanks. I'm always here though.
Cheers for being here, Josh.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Thank you very much for joining us, Will, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Sweet.
Cheers, Royal.